Okay, is it working? I think so. It says we're live. How does the audio sound? It sounds good to me. Yeah. Aren't they always? Do you like my Yu-Gi-Oh cards? Cause no. Well, like after season 2. Oh, well, that's all you really need.
Rude. Rude.
We've been muted.
Oh no.
No, you should be good now.
No.
I like how this one person's like, audio is great, and then everyone's like, can't hear anyone other than Jesse.
No. That's what he meant by audio is great.
He knows
He's
what
only
he
here
wants.
for Jesse. Yeah.
Yep.
He's a man that knows what he wants.
Wants that straight Jesse content.
Alright, so how do I, okay, so, yeah, okay, so everything's good. It should be good now. There you are, yeah. Ta-da!
No.
Magic. Alright, now we are recording. We are recording. Clap.
Yay.
Yay. We need like a...
Oh,
Like
one of those. I used to have one of those.
Yeah.
Those little.
A slate.
Yeah, now they're
Yeah.
digital. So it's like...
That's it. That's the word.
Did you have
They
a
use
digital
the term in
one?
theater as well.
I don't know what happened.
The digital ones are cool. Cause
Matt
you can
says
set them up
still
with the
can't hear
camera.
Daniel.
You can. You're just trying to trick him.
He's trolling.
Yeah, it sounds like Matt. You know, almost every time I stream, Matt comes in the chat. He says, "Daniel, I can't hear you because your mic is on."
Oh, yeah.
And I went every time, and it gives me pause.
Oh, we got
every
the same
single time.
TV.
What?
Geek.
What? What about my TV?
Like, mine has the same background thing on it.
Oh yeah, because I have a Roku streamer
Yeah.
thing.
Right now,
so it's all there
Tom
and
Hanks,
it's cheaper.
But, like, Tom... Have you seen Tom Hanks?
I have.
In real life,
I'm a Tim Allen person myself.
Oh,
But-
why not both? That's why they made
I mean,
Toy
that's why
Story.
you watch Toy Story to get both.
Okay.
touche.
Are we ready? We got 20 people watching.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So we...
Daniel, since you're the one who made
Oh, no.
the one videos, you're the one that's gonna be sourcing all the stuff. Or not sourcing,
Oh,
but
no.
talking about it.
Okay.
Okay.
I can talk about things.
Okay. Do you know how to talk?
No.
Okay. That's
It's
all.
okay. There's a cheat code for that.
Yeah.
Oh, phew.
You're overqualified.
I memorized the one for Sims.
I have to go down to the
Mother
sandcastle
load.
to enter the cheat code.
No. All right. So, hello everyone, and welcome to the Hylian Gamescast episode. Today we are going to be. What? Are you okay, Daniel?
What number was that?
What?
You made me almost choke.
What?
What was that number?
You didn't hear me?
I didn't
You
catch that.
I clearly. I mean.
It was German. I understood it.
Oh.
Die banana.
Oh no.
Great.
I'm sorry. I interrupted. Please continue, Jesse.
Okay, so here we are with Daniel,
Whoa.
the Geek Apprentice, and Chablima. today we're going to be discussing some Zelda Gigaleaks. Is that the correct term that people are using? Zelda
That's what they're
Gigaleaks?
calling it. The Gigaleaks.
All right.
Like Giga Bowser, but more wet because it's leaking.
All right. Well, Daniel,
Everything.
go ahead
Ew.
and let us know what these
terrible.
Gigaleaks consists of.
This is terrible imagery. I'm sorry. The Gigaleaks, guys. So, if you don't know what that is, the Gigaleaks, there was this hack, some kind of hack leak thing at Nintendo, and a whole bunch of source code for games, NES games, Super Nintendo games, N64 games, all these games, all the source codes got leaked. And before, people had done some pretty incredible, mod work or data mining and stuff with all these games, but tons of new stuff came to light, including things that were in, I'm just going to mostly talk about the Zelda stuff because that's really what people are here for, but like Luigi's model, his in-game model for Super Mario 64 was found in the game files of Mario 64. Tons of unused cut content from Ocarina of Time, including rooms that were fully modeled with some different textures that were reused in Majora's Mask, but were in Ocarina of Time's game files, like the Swamp Spider House and Under the Well, stuff like that. And tons of just cut content. Link to the Past, also I did a video on that one too, on Jesse's channel here. Tons of cut content from A Link to the Past, including early versions of Link's sprite where he looks really weird. Just weird looking sprites. Like tons of unfinished rooms. And shockingly, the Great Deku Tree in 16-bit glory from A Link to the Past, but he was cut out of that game, and no one knew until now. This game from 1993? 1991? 1991.
Something like that.
Link's Awakening
Yeah,
was 93. This game from 1991, and
Wait, I
then
thought it
another
was
game from
89.
1998 that we are still learning new information about thanks to these leaks. So yeah, just incredible information that just like no one ever expected.
It's like the thought that everyone had that's like, if you could just sneak into Miyamoto's office and steal his hard drive.
Yeah, I
It's
feel like
like-
that's what happened. Yeah,
Like,
it's incredible.
someone like went to a storage unit and just like took his computer or something.
Something like that.
So there was a few things that I seen going around. A lot of people being like, "Oh, it's finally confirmed Luigi was in Mario 64." But then it reminds me of all of the old interviews. Like we did a couple of videos of interviews where Miyamoto was talking about how whenever they were first making Super Mario 64, they had Mario and Luigi, and it was 2-player, and like as you would run around, the camera would like get bigger, and whenever they got closer together, the camera would kind of like zoom in on them, sort of like how like the Lego games do now, I guess, or other games do.
The cameras like pan out, even Smash.
Yeah, but
does that. Yeah.
the frame rate would like get really slow when they did that, so they made the game just Mario. So when everyone is saying like, "Oh, it's confirmed Luigi was actually meant to be in the game," and I'm like, "No, there's interviews like where they literally say he was in the game. They just took him out because of the frame rate." Like if the Nintendo 64 would have launched with the disk drive or with the expansion pack memory thing, then we probably would have got Luigi in Super Mario 64 2-player. But since it just launched as like the base model, they couldn't do it. But yeah, like it's kind of sad.
But like we all knew, like we knew about this, but this is the first time where someone was able to extract Luigi's model,
Right.
what he
and
actually
textures
looked
for
like,
his face,
not a fan mod.
Yeah, exactly, and they were able to. They had to put him back together because basically it was just his body parts and just the geometry of it, and it was all gray, like no texturing on it, and then there was another bunch of files that had just like his eyes, and then like the L for his hat, and just his textures and stuff. Yeah. And so they had to put them back together, and they were able to rebuild Luigi from all these in-game files. But it took, this was 1996 that this game came out? So that's like 24 years?
Yeah.
Before we found this? Like, that's incredible. That's
the other thing was when all of the websites are talking about like, oh, Zelda 64 or Zelda DD or whatever, like finally confirmed like screenshots or whatever, and it's using that, and it's like this stuff, like you can't just put up like the titles. The journalist in me wants to be like, no, you can't use those titles, like that's not, we already knew it was real. You can't say that. Nothing is confirmed. We already knew it. Because like whenever they first started promoting the game, they literally called it Zelda 64, where they showed it off and like you just had the A and B button for weapons. And
I've got somewhere here a Nintendo Power magazine. I have to dig it up, where it's advertising Zelda 64, and that's incredible. I'm just gonna put that up there.
And there's when they're promoting Majora's Mask at Space World, before it was known as Majora's Mask, when they were calling it Zelda Gaiden, there was an interview with Aonuma where he said that it was just the only interview that I've ever been able to find where when they're talking about the disc expansion for Ocarina of Time, he actually talked about 2 different disc expansions. So like they had Zelda 64 and then that was scrapped, and it was like cut down to like the main parts of the game, which got put on the cartridge because the whole disc couldn't be put on the cartridge. And those leftover files is some of what we see in these screenshots and stuff, like the spider house being reused for Majora's Mask, and some of the Zelda 64 beta stuff that was left there, and the enemies and things like that were still there. But all of that extra content was taken out of the main game and was meant to be put back in with the 𝐼𝐸 expansion. And then the 𝐼𝐸 expansion ended up becoming so big that it broke off into 2 different expansions. One which was supposed to be a smaller thing that was just supposed to remix the dungeons and stuff, which is what Master Quest ended up doing. And then the other expansion got remade and twisted and tangled and everything into Majora's Mask. Like all of the extra content, like the spider house from Zelda 64 that Daniel talked about, ended up being just put into Majora's Mask. And then I was looking at a website earlier that was talking about the different symbols for each day of the week, because Majora's Mask, when it was on the disc drive instead of just like when it was the disc expansion for Ocarina of Time and not just a cartridge game, it was supposed to be 7 days, and there are still hints of those 7 days left in the actual cartridge, but in these files someone found like the different symbols that was used for each of the 7 days of Majora's Mask. So I thought that was really
on the
cool.
in-game clock.
Yeah,
like where right now it has like first, second, and final day. Yeah, it is really cool. Some of the stuff that was found. Lots of early versions of enemies that you would see in those really old trailers, like the janky looking Stalfos from Ocarina of Time, from those Zelda 64 trailers. They were able to bring that back in, but it had no animations or anything, stuff like that. So it's a lot of really cool info. One of them, most interestingly, was a early version of Kokiri Forest. In the video I did for Jesse's channel, I only got like a panned out screen grab of it, but on Tony Hard4Games channel, he has a video where they put it in the game and they were able to walk around in it, and it's this huge area close to the size of Hyrule Field, but it's really empty.
It was,
and interestingly, there's like a banner that shows like a lumberjack axe on it, interestingly enough. So it's like probably remnants of an earlier version of the game where the story was different, and it was probably like a, some kind of village where forestry people were working rather than like the Kokiri as we know them now, if that makes sense.
I would say they took the beta Kokiri Forest that we seen that was like all huge and stuff, and when they had to move it to the cartridge, they had to like crunch it and make it smaller so that the
and also probably they
the
figured
cartridge.
It was not that fun. Like, if you think about it, playing the game and that's your first area you go into, and it's this huge, empty, massive.
Away from the boulder. That's the funnest part. Is like when you don't know how to go through that maze to get the shield, and it just like hits you every single the sword, and it just like every turn you take, the boulder just hits you.
Oh no!
Best part.
I don't think that was there, but Yeah, and also an earlier version of the Deku Tree in that early Kokiri Forest, which actually looks a little nicer because it's got like the sunbeams shining through its tree branches.
Yeah, it does.
It looks really nice actually. So, yeah, it's just it's crazy to see all this stuff like, 2 decades later, but plus close to 3 in some cases. Like next year, A Link to the Past will be 30 years old, which
Oh
oh my
my
god,
We'll be 30 years old.
that's crazy. But
Yikes.
yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. I guess I'm. That's all. That's pretty much the gist of what I was gonna say. There's actually tons more stuff. There was some completely cut games. There's Beta Yoshi, which people.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like, in Super Mario Maker, the weird Mario where he's got like super lanky.
Wait, Beta Yoshi for what?
For Super Mario World. So there's an early design for Yoshi.
Oh. Okay.
But he's just like super. He's just not. Yoshi right now. He's kind of squished together, and he's quite round, and like jolly.
Like Santa Claus.
This is like, yeah, but this beta version of Yoshi is like too much like a real lizard.
It's like the
he's
the
got a very
actual
long neck
dinosaur from the movie.
Yeah, it's just too dinosaur looking, not Yoshi enough. You look at
As
Yoshi
a
now,
southerner, actually making it look like a lizard is not a good idea.
no.
I stepped on one earlier today by accident.
Oh no.
It's okay, their tails grow back.
Where was this found?
So it kind of got dumped on the internet from, I don't know, people. At first, I was skeptical about it. I've been mostly finding other people's YouTube videos and Twitter, but at first I was skeptical about these leaks until one that was in this batch of leaks contained source code for Star Fox 2. Dylan Cuthbert, who was one of the developers at Argonaut Games, commented being like, "What the heck?" And he basically confirmed that it was real. He was like, "I haven't seen this source code in over 20 years. I wrote this.
Yeah.
This is real." So that was like, okay, that's all the confirmation I need. That one of the developers verifying that this is the actual source code that he wrote. But also, something not good about these leaks, other than the fact that it's illegal to leak stuff like this.
Yeah.
If it was like something worse, and they'd lose their job. Other than that, there was actually some personal info, like emails and stuff like that, from the developers that was included in some of these leaks.
About
And that's,
for
for lack of better words, oh no, like someone who, and you shouldn't use your work email for this to begin with, but someone emailing one of their coworkers talking about this terrible breakup they had. Someone else detailing a traumatic
you read the
childhood memory
emails?
involving a Mr. Potato Head.
You
Some
read
of
the
them,
email?
and I was like,
Dang.
I did.
You're
I
the
did
one
read
saying,
some of them actually.
It's illegal. It's meant to be private, and I read it.
People forget what it means to be professional in the workplace.
Yes.
Yep.
Like, I sent Daniel a meme once through email, and even that's not professional at work.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
None of the
there is
emails.
some of that.
90% of the emails that I get from you guys, the titles of the emails are not friendly.
I don't even put
So-
anything in the title.
I don't title
sometimes.
anything.
Or I'm just like, audio.
I
There
I
you go.
keyboard
Here.
mashed my audio. I did Untitled 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, my emails to Jesse are not not professional at all. Not.
So your email to me with your audio for my video was like, listen to this hot beat.
What?
I swear that's what it
Okay.
said.
And
Is that what I'm
Oh yeah.
I'm the problem when
'Cause-
it's actually Daniel.
No, because I was trying to copy the Darunia thing, where he's like,
Oh.
that's a hot
Yeah,
beat.
that's a
because
hot-
you did the
right.
stuff for Daruk.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It took me a second until I was listening to it. I was like, that's right, he's doing Daruk. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah. Like there was no
So-
song. It would have been the worst song in the world if that was a song. It was just me narrating.
That was a great song.
Yes.
Sorry, my cat's scratching at my door.
Hello.
Oh.
So, follow-up question to the leaks and stuff.
There's
then.
a ghost in your
When
room.
did this all start coming to light? Because I didn't actually hear anything about it until literally now, because I don't think I've been
Oh.
paying attention to social media.
Oh no.
But I have definitely been seeing memes about Luigi and this demonic
Yeah.
looking Yoshi around with
Oh yeah.
like I didn't
That's
see
the
any
baby
source to
Yoshi.
it other than me seeing it.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, probably what 2 weeks ago is when they started
Okay.
kind of trickling out. And
Yeah.
whoever this leaker is, he's been. It's not me, guys. So, but whoever this leaker is, they've been doing it as a slow trickle. Like they didn't just boom put everything out at once. They've been very meticulously drip feeding information. So they're not just getting 15 minutes of fame; they're stretching it to a full-length feature film.
They must be really good at what they do to have not been caught by now.
Oh, totally. Like it's
Like,
it's
especially
insane.
with like Nintendo ninjas out there, like you'd think that they would have figured out who it is by now.
Oh yeah, they're gonna force him to seppuku once
It's
this is all
probably
done.
like
Oh, no, that's samurai,
someone-
not ninjas.
It's probably someone like what actually happened. My guess would be someone who worked for Nintendo in
never
like
seen Geek's
the
cat
early
before.
2000s and
Jesse,
retired.
wait, Jesse,
What?
wait.
What's your cat's name?
There's a cat.
Oh,
She
Tell
won't
us about the
shut
cat.
up.
Oh, what's
Her name's
name?
Navi.
Navi.
She won't
So
shut up.
fitting!
That makes sense. That checks out. Just give
So
her one
is-
pet for me. Just one.
The best part of my day.
It's great.
does it talk to you?
Give it a
and play
few minutes,
special
she'll start
song?
biting at me.
If I reach this way, here I'm gonna reach into your screen and pet the cat. There we go. I tried.
Oh,
Why are you
man.
being
Oh.
affectionate? You hate physical touch. That's why we get along. We both hate physical touch.
Oh, it's like Daniel.
Oh.
That is true. I'm not a hugger. That's not a hugger.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Sorry.
It doesn't even.
I
look
knew
like
she wouldn't
I'm
shut
wearing
up
a
unless
link
I let her
hat.
in.
It just looks like I'm wearing a beanie.
Oh, it does. Oh, it does. But yes, there was other stuff with these leaks other than just Zelda. They found a cut track from Mario 64 as well. Mario Kart 64. They found a cut racetrack that was like a city themed. Apparently, it runs terribly, so that's probably why it was cut. So
Good choice,
it was
Nintendo.
a good choice. And just like an entirely cut game called
Just
Super Donkey.
X.
I have no
Hi,
idea what
Geeks
that's
Cat.
all about.
Super
Geeks Cat.
Donkey?
Yeah, I had no idea what deal is. Is that a game called Super Donkey?
My guess is Super Donkey Kong.
Hybrid
Could be,
between
but it's-
Mario
I
and
mean-
Donkey Kong. Your tail's on
Oh.
my
Yeah.
Oh,
wire.
So my guess.
another
is-
noteworthy.
Oh.
Oh yes.
I was
Yes.
just
What?
gonna say.
Jesse.
My guess would be someone who used to work at Nintendo in like the 90s and the early 2000s, but then they retired, so they took all their stuff, and then like 10 years later or 15 years later they pass away or something, or they give all their stuff to their son or their grandchildren, and they're going through it, and it just turns out that they're like a 4chan nerd, so they're like, oh, I can upload all this stuff to 4chan and all these other places, and then that's how it spread. That's my guess.
That's a fair guess.
Or like someone had like, because the whole COVID thing, they had to be locked in their grandparents' house for a year, and
You
while
know
they're
what?
there,
COVID
they're
has
just like
made people
digging through
really
the attic.
bored and they're doing questionable things, so I don't
Yeah.
doubt that.
That's true.
All right, so what's next?
I don't know. What's next, Jesse?
Have we
What
all
do we got on the
have-
old docket
have
here?
Have we all talked about the thing yet?
The
What
thing?
Well, I mean, like, have we all gave our thoughts on the leaks?
Leaks. The leaks thoughts.
They're very interesting, but probably shouldn't have happened.
Yes.
No, they should.
Yeah.
Well, the Zelda
yes and
stuff
no.
should have. The
They
content.
should've-
as well.
They should have
Like-
leaked it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, scrub the personal info
Put up
out.
personal
If you're
information.
gonna leak, at least censor it. Come on.
I will say though, like, it's very
Don't
cool
make
seeing all this new info, but like, I also feel like
I can just imagine Daniel.
I know that I'm
staying
very
up
hard
late
on my
at
own
night,
work.
His wife
Oh,
just
no.
being like, Daniel, go to bed, and he's like, no, I gotta read these emails.
I gotta read all the no. But like, okay, think about it.
Just
Just even the beta stuff that was leaked. Think about it like as an artist or something when you're working on something and you have a draft of something and then you come up with something better and you delete your draft and then 20 years later someone's like, here's a draft of this thing this person was working on. I'd be like, no one was supposed to see that. That was the work in progress. Like,
It's like the
you know,
sketchbook
just-
I keep under my bed. What's wrong with you?
yeah, there you go. And then like it also had like your address on it. So,
That too.
I don't know.
I was actually listening to what was it, the IGN GameScoop podcast, and they were reading like old video game magazines like EGM and stuff, and underneath the reviews for the games they would have the address for like the company that made the game. So like if it's a good review or a bad review, like there's the address there for people to send the complaints.
What?
Apparently they did it so that people like wouldn't read the review and then send the complaints to the magazine company. They would send the complaints to the creators of the game instead. So it's like a way to trick them to not getting hate mail. So it's kind of like what you said.
So you're telling me I should be redirecting all of my hate mail to Daniel?
I mean,
What?
That's not what I said at all, but yes. Hashtag
No,
blame
send it
Daniel.
to Jesse. He runs this channel.
I do not. Have you seen the videos going up in the past 2 weeks?
Oh,
it's
no.
It's you and Layla. You and Layla
Oh,
run
no.
the channel. For the past 2 weeks. That's you two.
That's great.
Oh, no.
I've been.
Sorry, my cat keeps bonking her head on my microphone because she's like, it must have my scent.
Oh,
What?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
do you guys want to do the funny job story things now?
Oh, sure. I should have thought of something.
Does it
Really?
funny? I feel like none of my job stories are funny so much as they're like terrible.
Well, that's the thing. Cause like your worst job experience, or like the most nervous, or the funny stories, whatever you have.
Well, I have one locked and loaded because I shared it on Facebook.
Okay.
Um,
Keep it. Remember, PG-13, guys.
Oh yeah, no, it's totally PG. It's not even really
so
funny.
like
It
no
was mostly-
murder or anything.
No murder
like- okay.
yet.
Mm-mm.
So like two years ago now, I believe, I used to work at a cafe downtown Vancouver, and loved that place. It was amazing. It was a very, very. I didn't work there with them. It was a totally different cafe, but I was like working there, and it was whatever. It was my full-time job, and we had the supervisor, and he didn't like. He was just like this dude. I didn't know him very well, and I didn't really understand him because it was a bit of a language barrier, but it was whatever. He seemed cool. And so one day I was like doing my thing. It was like super busy because we're like right in the heart of Vancouver, and I am like working my butt off. And then I turn around, and my supervisor, who was like the manager on at the time, was yelling at one of the customers, and he was like swearing at them and just like freaking right out. And I was like, I turned around, and I was like, "Excuse me, don't talk to the customer like that. Like, I don't know what he did or what he said, but that doesn't justify you talking to him like that." And then he turned on me, and he was like, "How dare you try to talk back to me, and like, F you, and F that, and F you." And I was like,
Oh
I
my.
did not sign up for this. I'm just trying to protect the customer. I'm cashing out, and I'm taking the tips. I'm taking your tips, and I'm leaving.
That was such a power move to take his tips, though.
I took a step, so I was like on my way.
The twist.
And
The customer was me.
Oh.
But anyway, so like, it's all said and done. I like go home for the day, and then the owner of the shop calls me, and they're like, "Hey, like I just heard about what happened. I'm so sorry. I'm going down there right now, and I'm firing him." And I was like, "Whoa, okay, awesome." So they walk down, they fire this guy for like just like lashing out and swearing at everyone, and then they're like, "Hey, Kayla, so the position of supervisor just opened up. Do you want his job?" And I was like, "No." Why? So, yep. Love working customer service.
That's an adventure.
Love. And yeah, so that's my story.
All right.
Like it.
Does anyone
I
else?
do have a funny one
Okay.
because
Do
I work
it.
with children. Lots of them. I work in customer service too, but usually I prefer my job as a dance teacher. So, this was like my second year teaching on my own. Yeah, you depending on like your maturity level and how long you've been an assistant and in the apprentice program, I started teaching at 16. But like little ones, I wasn't doing recital dances. Anyway, the youngest class we have is called the Wiggle Giggle class because they're 2 years old. And like it's almost like glorified babysitting essentially. But they do learn things like how like this song is slow. How do we move slow? Things like that. As long as you can get them to walk in without crying, you're usually good. But we do this thing where they practice staying in a line. It's called the train. There's a slow version and there's a fast version. So this group, they were like going on 3 years old, so we elevated to, yes, I know you're frustrated. I told you. They were about 3 years old, so we elevated to the fast train, which means they slowly get a little bit faster and faster, and they have to learn how to stay in a line. Hold on, I'm gonna have to pause my story because she's not allowed to be on the floor in my room.
No.
I'll hold you in suspense. Hold on.
Suspense. Killing us.
We'll never know what happened to the Wiggle Giggle Squad.
Nope.
Long may they reign. Crazy 3-year-olds.
Do you have
3-year-olds are
thought,
crazy.
Daniel?
Oh, there's too many. I get all the crazies all the time, like old people who
Told
forgot
you
to pay
she'd
their
start
bills,
growling.
and then they're mad at me that they didn't pay their bills.
Sorry. So we're doing fast train, and they do like their wheels and everything, and you explain like, all right, Emma's gonna stay behind me, Lydia's gonna stay behind Emma, like you're trying to get them to stay in a line. Well, at the end of the fast train song, you're supposed to slow down. You say, all right, the choo-choo train's slowing down, so they start going back to a walking. Well, the front girl slowed down. This was like a group of 5 girls. The others didn't. So you have first girl gets trampled by the second girl, falls on her. Third girl falls, fourth, fifth, and they stacked on top of each other, essentially. And me and the assistant are trying so hard not to laugh. So hard not to laugh, because like I turn around as it's happening. It was one of those things that's like, I don't care how trained you are, there's some things you just can't stop. And I'm turning around and you just say boom, 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 boom. And we're like, no. Because typically when they fall, you don't go, oh my gosh, you hurt, because then they go, am I hurt? And then they start scream crying. Whereas if you just kind of ignore it for a second, they might not think they're hurt and they're actually fine.
Yeah.
Depends. But no, the girl on the bottom, the one that was trampled the most, was like, I'm fine. And the girl on the top was scream crying. And I was like, you're literally the least injured out of everyone here. I know it just scared her. It was just one of those moments where I felt so bad because I'm trying so hard to stifle a laugh while also comforting this 2.5-year-old girl who's so traumatized by the train wreck.
Oh my goodness. The literal
wow.
train wreck.
Yeah.
Literal.
Amazing. Gotta love kids.
All right.
Kids, man.
Have you thought of one, Daniel?
Oh, sure. This is an old story. For my first job, when I was in my late teens and I worked at a movie theater. I don't recommend it, by the way.
Were you the butter guy?
It's the worst job.
I
was the butter guy. I was the butter guy. No, I was like scooping popcorn, squirting butter. It was very messy. Butter's hard to clean up. Okay, but at the time, I can't remember if it was the first or second Hangover movie was playing. I don't remember which one it was. I just remember that it was The Hangover because for some reason when we were playing The Hangover, a lot of people decided it would be very funny to show up to the movie drunk out of their minds, right? So I guess it just brought them more into the experience of the film. I don't recommend doing that, by the way, because it just leads to all kinds of disasters. So anyways, it was like midnight and our concession stand had closed and we were cleaning up. Now, the concession stand, for those of you who know the area in Vancouver, this was at Metropolis, Metrotown. So it is the biggest movie theater in like the province.
Next to the Daily Bugle.
Sure. And our concession stand wasn't like closed off. It was like an island in the middle of the lobby. So when we're cleaning up, like we're just still like out in the lobby in the open. So people could still come up and talk to us in theory, right? So we're cleaning up and this woman stumbles out of a theater from The Hangover, clearly inebriated, as it were. And she comes and like half collapses over the counter and she's like, "Can I get a popcorn?" And I'm like, I'm sorry, we're actually closed. And she's like, but I just need a popcorn. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, we are closed. It's like after midnight, you know. She's like, well, the movie's still playing. Why are you closed? And I'm like, all the movies have started. All the last shows have started. The movie's almost done. Like, we have to leave at some point, right? Like, sorry, we're closed. And she's like, can't you just for me, just make one more batch of popcorn? And I look behind me, and one of my coworkers is actually cleaning the popcorn maker. He's literally standing inside the machine, cleaning the glass. And I just look at him, and he's like, and I'm like, no, that's no, that guy's in there. You don't like. There's chemicals everywhere now because we're like sanitizing everything. It's not gonna happen. Our tills have all cashed out. Like, this is not happening, right? And then she started to like. You can probably see where the story's going because she was drunk. She started to like throw up a little bit, but then she like stifled it, and she's like, and it like leaks between her fingers, and she runs away. So that's. I don't recommend working in a movie theater, everybody. It's real gross.
Uh-oh.
That's the end of my story.
Yikes. Shameful moment. I have been one of the drunk people at the movie theater. It was to see
No!
Zootopia. It was 5 p.m. I tripped over a bunch of children. I'm a bad person.
Girl, okay. The Hangover kind of makes sense. It's an R-rated movie, you know, about being super drunk. Zootopia?
Wow.
Kayla?
I didn't remember that movie. I had to watch it a second time, and I was like, wow, this movie's so good.
All right.
Oh, no.
So-
Jesse, you have any good stories?
I have two. I'll go with the second, which is more of a. So the first one is like an aggravation type of thing, like dealing with an incredibly rude customer, and the second was dealing with corrupt management, I guess. So I was working at this used game store after I had worked at GameStop, and it was after the holiday season because I was seasonal at GameStop, and then the holiday season was over, and this was when the PS4 and the Xbox One first came out. So then this used game store that was like right behind GameStop was hiring, so I was like, I'll just go over there. And they hired me, and they only had like the main manager, an assistant manager, and then a temp person that they would call in. And they were wanting me to come in to replace the temp person because the main manager would always talk bad about the temp person, like, she's always late, she never does this, she never does that, she just sits there, blah blah blah. And then he'd talk about the assistant manager being like, all she does is sit there and do nothing. And the assistant manager would bring in her girlfriend, and they would just sit there and talk the entire time and wouldn't do anything. So whenever I would get there, there would be like all of these used games that needed to be organized and stuff. So it's like, oh, I'm going to let all of the stuff pile up, and then the new guy can take care of it, was basically what it was like. But I was like, okay, whatever. It's the new guy treatment. I don't care. I'll do it. Because there was like 4 customers that came in there a day, and usually it was just people that like came to order a pizza that was beside the place. So while they were waiting on their pizza to get done, they would just roam around and look at the games. Because everybody just went to GameStop. But anyways, after
So,
like
how did this stay in business?
I really don't know. But after like 2 days, like there would be people come in with like their entire life collection of video games. Like this one guy brought in a giant box of like Xbox 360 and Super Nintendo.
Oh, wow.
He was trying to get an Xbox 360. Yeah, that's what it was. He brought in like Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis and like tons of games. And then he just wanted like an Xbox 360 and whatever the newest Call of Duty was. And I'm like, why? Like, you have A Link to the Past and like Sonic and all of these great games and Mega Man. And he's like, I just want an Xbox. And I was just like, okay, this is your choice.
I bet you before that he came from the movies where he saw The Hangover. And he was...
Yeah, but that's what it was. Like, I'd see these people come in, like, they would give out like their entire lives collection, like their entire childhood in a box, and I'm like, why? For like $15. But anyways, so the problem gets to when like after 2 days, the manager's like, oh, you seem to know what you're doing. Open up tomorrow. And I'm like, what do you mean open up? Like and he's like, oh, you just go and count the cash register and blah blah blah. Here's the key. And I'm like, okay. So I come in the next day and open up and everything's fine. I worked there for like a few months. And over time, like you hear that, like the last manager got fired because he got caught stealing and stuff. And then I started noticing a bunch of like weird small inconveniences. And one day I was like counting through the cash register and there was like $200 or $300 missing. And you're supposed to write down, like you're supposed to take out money from the cash register and put so much in the safe, and then put like whatever, like 2,000 or whatever in the safe, and then whatever is left over you put in an envelope and then write down how much is in the envelope. And there's always supposed to be enough to go in the first envelope, because that's what is supposed to go into the cash register the next morning. So it's always supposed to be the same, but there wasn't enough in the cash register to like fill in what was supposed to be there. And like it didn't add up to where like there was like $100 or $200 or whatever missing. And I was like, oh no, like the last manager just got fired because he was stealing money. They're gonna think I'm stealing money. So I like mark it down and I try to call the manager, but I don't get a hold of him. And then the next day he calls me and was like, hey, why did you mark down that there wasn't so much on the thing? And I was like, because I marked down what was there, like I'm supposed to. And he's like, yeah, well, next time, even if it isn't there, just mark down that it's there. That way no one gets in trouble. And I'm like, but won't people get in trouble if the money's not actually there with the right numbers? And he's just like, don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay. And then like a week later, I ended up getting fired for showing up late and eating tacos.
That's a good reason to get fired. That's why I want to go out. Showing up late and eating tacos.
No, at the same time, like you showed up, like you walked in
Showed up
or
with a
taco
in your hand.
and they're like,
Sorry,
that's the
guys.
last straw.
No,
Hungry,
yeah,
stopped at Taco
actually.
Bell.
There's a Taco Bell next to it, and I would get like an order of Taco Bells to last throughout my entire lunch thing. So I would like, it would be my breakfast for opening, and then I would still have 2 or 3 tacos left for my lunch break. And if no one was in the store, I would just go back and eat a taco. So like I'm just carrying my box of tacos into the break room. And
Yeah.
it's like
I
no
aspire to
one
get fired from
no one
tacos.
comes to the store, and I always had the problem where like I would get nervous, so I'd have to go use the bathroom. So sometimes like we would open
You'd
up
sit on the
like
toilet and eat a taco?
no, but like I would
It's not
do
sanitary.
Oh, no.
so
Not
it's
at
like I
all.
would show up like, and then you guys, you know my ex, or you know of my ex, and she was the one that was driving me back and forth. So sometimes when I'd be like, hey, wake up, I gotta go to work, can you take me? And it's like, you can't do anything. So I was kind of dealing with that. So I showed up and I had my tacos. And I had to give my keys back. And
Wow.
that was that.
They didn't take the taco away though. You got
No,
to keep that.
no, but I was happy. I was happy though, cause like every day after that thing, whenever the money was missing, I was like, I'm gonna get blamed for this. Cause I was the one who counted it and put my name beside it. So I was like, I'm gonna get blamed. Like that's gonna be taken out of my check. But no one ever said anything. So I was like, oh, thank God I was fired, because I didn't want to be blamed and arrested for stealing hundreds
God,
of
I was fired
dollars.
for tacos.
Yeah. So it's like
Of all things.
Cause the thing is, no one goes there at all. Like you go there and open up, and then 3 hours later, someone stumbles in because they're waiting on a pizza. Like that's it.
Sounds like a great job.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, and then the guy would have like, so you know how you can put movies and cartoons on a PlayStation 3 with like a USB drive or whatever, and you can like watch. Well, he would have like a bunch of old cartoons. Like if you guys watched the G4 TV, there's like icons and other things. That was like documentaries about video game makers and stuff, which is really cool. but then you'd have like Sonic and the Super Mario show and Ren and Stimpy and stuff like that. And some of the stuff, like the Mario cartoons, is good PG stuff, but then it's like Ren and Stimpy, and it's like, that's not PG. Like, that's like very R-rated stuff and like a family-friendly environment.
Yeah.
And it's like, just because it's a cartoon, you know, you shouldn't have that playing. So then, like, I would talk about stuff like that too, and the guy's like, if you don't like it, you can just get away. I'm like, yeah, tacos. So yeah, that's my story.
Amazing.
What a
Oh
story.
my gosh.
I was
Twist ending.
fired, tacos, showing up late, and what was the other thing? Oh yeah. I looked at it as a blessing because it meant I was not going to be arrested for stealing hundreds of dollars. So
Yikes.
that's my thing.
Yep.
So
The story was written by M. Night Shyamalan because it had such a twist.
Worst.
I probably
Wow.
wouldn't have been late if I didn't get the tacos. To be honest, I would have been there on time.
Good thing you needed the tacos.
Good thing.
Good
'Cause if you had
thing.
stayed longer, someone would have tried
No,
to pin that
I
on you.
literally could have went in and like counted all the money for the cash register and opened up and everything, and then just like left the store completely empty and got tacos and came back, and everything would have been fine because no one would have came in. I could have just been like, oh, it's outside. Like, I don't smoke, but the people that, like the other people that work there, would always go out for like 30 minutes, and they're like, I'm taking a smoke break, and they'd come back 30 minutes later, and I'm like, I don't get a break. I don't smoke. I should get a break. Like, when's
Right.
my... Can I go outside and hang out and sit down for 30 minutes?
That
My
reminds me
mom
of-
used to do that when she was in her early 20s. She was working at a
Oh.
hospital, front desk person, worked her way up to like manager or something, and she just one day left. She was like, I'm taking a break, and they were like, it's not your turn to take a break. And she went, so-and-so's taking a break, and they're like, well, yeah, it's a smoke break. She was like, I want a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bite.
Yep.
She said, I bite my nails. That's my bad habit. I want a break for 30 minutes. And
Yeah,
they were like, what? And they didn't say anything to her. They let her take a break, a paid
Chase
break.
the smokers down.
Yeah. So what's...
Honestly, it would drive me crazy when I was supervisor at Starbucks, and then we had another coworker who would take very frequent smoke breaks, and then I would be like, just like, no. I basically had to shut her down for like, you don't get extra breaks. We already get 3 breaks a day. Like, you're not entitled to more breaks than anyone else just because you have a terrible habit that's killing yourself. So there's my spicy hot take.
Yep.
She didn't.
It makes me think
she
of my
didn't like it.
students who purposely go to the bathroom during certain ballet exercises they don't like. I caught one time, like, they always went during releves. That's a ballet move. Anyway, so one time, I had everyone do the releve combination. Funny enough, she walks out right when the releves were finished. I was like, wow, it's not even that long of a combination. How did you manage to get through leotard, tights, and everything in that bathroom? She comes out, and I was like, oh, since you missed releves, you're going to do it on your own. And everyone's going to watch you. She was like 12. I was like, you know better.
Yeah.
And she was like, what? And I was like, you missed releves. These are very important if you ever want to go on point, which you said you do. So we're going to watch you do them. She never asked to go to the bathroom again.
I watched a sort of ballet movie yesterday. The
Oh, no.
Phantom
Not
of
the
the
same
Opera.
Not the same thing.
Oh, it's not even an opera.
Oh
What?
dear.
The Phantom of the
Um,
Opera?
It's not an opera. It sounds like one. And it's
It has
based
it in the
around
title.
one.
But there's ballet parts in it. They came out with their little shoes and they like got it in like this weird powder stuff, and I'm like, sure, why not?
Rosin.
Sure.
It's so you don't slip and fall on your face. But sometimes
Oh.
that doesn't work either.
Because it has my favorite actress in it, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna go watch this movie. But it was like 15 years
Ooh.
old, so I was like,
Who's your
oh, there.
favorite actress? Who is it?
Rossum.
What?
Amy Rossum.
Oh.
Yeah. She
Okay.
was the lead
I was just
singer, dancer person in this movie. I'm like, oh, well, she can sing, but
Can it be? Can
Yeah.
it be Christine?
yeah, that's it.
But
And there's the
Jessica.
voice that's always talking to her, and she's like, it's my dad. And I'm like, no, it's not.
oh no.
It's the Phantom.
Oh, it's Gerard Butler. who actually auditioned on a joke. He was dared to audition for that. He didn't think he would get it. And they're like, wow, Gerard Butler can really, really sing. And then he became the Phantom.
Dang.
And I'm
Wait,
like,
in the movie?
And they're all like, dang, Gerard Butler, you so handsome.
I mean, he is. Also, he voices Stoic the Vast, so I had to paint a dragon.
That's Gerard Butler?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. All right. My kid watches the Dragons shows, so I catch like a lot of it secondhand. He's really into it though. But
Might be
what?
I might have a couple of Build-A-Bears of the dragons back there.
Oh.
Maybe.
Aw.
Oh, do you want to know something somewhat relevant to Daniel?
Uh-oh.
Maybe.
Jord. No, you're saying. Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of someone.
What?
I was thinking of a
What?
completely different person. You guys were
What?
talking about Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
I was thinking Gerard Way.
Oh,
No idea who that
those
is.
are very different people.
Well, you were talking like Gerard and singing, and I'm like, well, yeah, he can sing. He's in a band. Like, what? Of course he can sing. And then you guys are like,
My Chemical Romance?
yeah.
No.
Is it?
'Cause
No,
I
Gerard
was-
Butler's not from My Chemical
No,
Romance.
Gerard Way.
no,
He's the
no,
singer.
that would be
And then
hilarious.
he wrote the new TV show that's on Netflix, The Umbrella Academy. That's his comic book series. And then the thing I was going to say about Daniel before I realized you're talking about a different person was that he's like best friends with Kevin Smith
Oh.
because they're neighbors or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alright. Gerard Butler would make an awesome live-action Ganondorf. Alright.
Sure. I mean, he's Scottish, but okay.
Keith's reaction of the...
What are we doing?
What's our next topic?
Icebreaker.
Yeah,
Jesse?
what's the next? I don't have it up. Tell me, Daniel.
We're supposed to be talking about 2021 predictions.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we are.
we each give one prediction on what like a game or something that Nintendo's going to do for next year. All right, Clappy, go first.
Clappy.
I am hoping
Clappy?
that they will...
Yeah, because she was a dolphin.
Thanks, clapping. I'm hoping that they will put another emulator on Nintendo Switch because we know that they have the coding for it and that they have the ability and they just have to press go. That's my hope. Because we got NES, we got SNES.
What if it's an emulator for their mobile games, and then you
No.
get Mario Kart or Super Mario Go and Animal?
You don't even have to emulate
Planet
that because they're
Pocket.
already putting their mobile games on there. Like that stupid, sorry if anyone likes this, but the Pokemon Cafe game, you can play on the Switch or you can play mobile.
Oh.
And I really suggest that you only play it on your cell phone and not on the Nintendo Switch because it's not worth the waste of space.
I was just joking. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Wait, but actually, what like system? We have the Nintendo Entertainment System. We have the Super Nintendo. What would you want to do? Like Game Boy, N64?
I know that the N64 information was there, and I think they... I can't remember. There were 3 that we had mentioned a while back, but I can't remember. But I just remember N64 was on
Man.
there, so it's probably the one that I'm thinking.
They're still on that boat.
Pretty cool. Shameless plug. I was on Nintendo Prime's podcast, and this came up actually.
Whoa!
What a coinkydink. and my biggest hesitancy with the N64 is like for the NES and the Super Nintendo, the Switch's controller buttons are like a 1-to-1 fit.
Yeah.
Perfect matchup. The N64's controller is its very own, very unique thing, and I'm unsure of how they would translate that to the Switch's control scheme.
Do you like the
So
GameCube
Game Boy-
format?
Game Boy Advance, all of that would I think be perfect. I don't know why they haven't done it already, but
What about the
N64
GameCube format? Like when you play
The GameCube
Collector's
format?
Edition with a GameCube
Well,
controller.
I was also gonna say, like, if you think about on the Wii, you can get like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. These are games that came out on N64, but we were able to map them to a different controller. So like I've played these games with my GameCube controller because that's how you connect it on the Wii. So I don't think that's too far out of the realm of possibility, but I can think of a couple games where I think that would be a little more complicated because there's definitely some games where you want to hold the middle and the right side. And then I think there's only mini games where you have to hold both of the outside parts.
What game is this? What game is in here?
Not Super Smash Bros.
I mean, I guess it's not Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, based on what you've said.
Nice.
Okay.
I borrowed this from someone 15 years ago.
You what? Jesse. Actually, you know what that reminds me of?
It's called
Here's a true story. My ex-girlfriend borrowed my copy of Wind Waker, and then we broke up, and I never got it back from her.
So she borrowed it permanently.
Yeah, well, initially it was just a genuine borrowing.
Ex-girlfriends are kind of notorious for this. I have a guy friend, and when he broke up with his girlfriend, she cleaned out all of his GameCube games and all of his Wii games, and stole his Steam account.
Wow.
It's from Japan.
Because I went over and I was like, "Oh, cool, you have this game," and I opened it and I was like, "Never mind, it's empty." And he was like, "Yeah, she took all that."
Oh no. Oh no.
Yep.
Well, I guess I can count my blessings that it was just Wind Waker, and I ended up buying another copy, and then I ended up buying the HD version. So, I mean, it's probably fine, right?
Yeah. Anyways, any other 2021 predictions?
Yeah. Nintendo will announce 3 Zelda games.
3?
Before the end of 2021.
So, are you thinking like remake,
port,
spin-off?
Spin-off? That's kind of what I was thinking. I don't think we're gonna get like our next Zelda
2
game.
original, 1 remake, not counting the mobile game.
Every time you say the mobile game, my heart breaks.
Yeah, I just cringe.
It is confirmed that, like they said long ago, they were making after Animal Crossing. So
maybe they canceled it quietly, like they did with Star Fox.
Really?
Don't you think they would say something if they canceled it?
Yeah, not necessarily.
So that's not releasing. That's just announcing. That's 3.
Okay.
And Breath of the Wild 2 is already announced, so that doesn't count. So, 2 original, 1 remake.
I mean, frankly, I want that to be true.
Sure.
I would cry.
I want to swap out one of the originals for a port, if I'm being honest. I know that's...
And I want to say...
For me, that's how I'd feel.
That sounds greedy and a little bit backwards, but...
I want to say, on the last predictions, my E3 predictions from last year came true. So...
Oh, yes.
Yep. Alright.
I like to
my
remind
delight
people.
And many tears.
Because there was a lot of comments on the videos like, Jesse, stupid, why would they have 3 different Zelda games at E3? And I'm like...
I remember when they were announcing, you were like, 1, 2, 3, I was right!
Boom.
I remember being like, throwing out there, oh, Pokemon paid DLC. And even I was like, that's not going to happen. And then 2 days later, they announced it. And I was like, guys, I did a thing.
You did it.
Speaking of paid DLC, that's my prediction. Paid DLC for Animal Crossing.
Oh, I hope not. I really hope not. I'd be so upset.
See, I want it though. There's so much missing.
Don't they have paid stuff for Pocket Camp?
I feel like there's so
right
much
now they're
missing
kind of...
Don't they have paid stuff for Pocket Camp?
Do they?
That doesn't count.
They're kind of drip feeding a lot of things.
We have for Pocket Camp is like you can buy tokens and tickets, or you can pay for like a camp or like one of the campers to follow you and do tasks and stuff.
So couldn't like the stuff you pay for in Pocket Camp, they just do the same thing?
You can pay for manual labor.
Other.
Yeah, there's stuff I liked in Pocket Camp, like item wise, not playing wise. And I'm like, why isn't this in the game yet? I mean, I'd prefer it if it's not paid DLC, but I feel like that's the route they might get-go, because like I said, there's so much missing.
I would be so upset because they released an unfinished Animal Crossing game. Like, I'm gonna come out there and say that. This game is unfinished. There's so much that they're missing, and they know that they're missing. And their rationale for it is that they just basically want to drag this game out as long as they possibly can because they know they don't have anything lined up. They know that Animal Crossing is currently carrying them through this year. And that's a bummer, and that realization sucks. But if they were to release a DLC, I personally would be really mad because, first of all, everything that they'd want to release is not going to be new content because all we're seeing right now is reused content from other games. So if they did a paid DLC for that, I'd be like, Nintendo, I'm out. I can't do this anymore.
At least be new stuff.
Right? If it were new stuff, yes.
What kind of new stuff
Nintendo,
would you want?
They would sneak in so much that was like, should have already been there.
And there's
This
a
is
lot
my
of little
nightlight.
things they need to fix too. Lots of little things. Like I've poured almost 500 hours into the game. It's not like we don't like it.
Yeah.
But
Touche.
there's a lot of things that I'm like, come on. This really should have. I'm still wondering where the heck the gyroids are.
The what? That's a
This
major
game that
Exactly.
we're not seeing them in, and it drives me crazy.
I miss the gyroids. That like my
Uh,
mom used to fill her basement with every gyroid she could get just to have all these stupid sounds going.
I love when you could store them with Brewster and when that was a thing because
Yeah,
it feels
where's
like
Brewster?
selling them. And everyone wants a coffee shop, everyone's building their
I
own.
know,
Give me
right?
Brewster.
Yeah,
I'm
built
so
my-
I have
upset
my own.
about it.
Sorry. We're angry.
Rawr.
Careful when it comes to Kayla and I in Animal Crossing.
I feel like their unfinishedness with Animal Crossing is okay because they're kind of drip feeding things out,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with that personally because it does. You say drag the game out, but like it stops it from getting old, I guess.
Yeah.
Without all
and
these
it's
updates,
also,
and
also-
like, a lot of that time traveling as well, which is a nice aspect.
There's that,
and
too.
I do really appreciate it. But it's just so annoying seeing stuff that had come day one of other games that they're just kind of like, you know what? Everyone really liked this. So what if we give you a game with absolutely nothing new other than the ability to like be able to craft stuff and get recipes, and then just start adding all the things that they used to have? So
See,
like,
Right.
as a seasoned Animal Crossing player, that's disappointing to me because I'm not seeing new content.
Yeah.
someone from
I'm okay
Nintendo.
with like
Sorry.
I'm okay with like the seasonal stuff of like, okay, not every Christmas is gonna be the same. Like I think they learned from this year's Bunny Day. I think they learned. Like people did not like Bunny Day. We're gonna fix that next year. So that was one upside. But like you said, there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, this really should have been here from the get go.
Zipper
Or
comes
things
back.
that what was I doing? Oh, I was playing the DLC Isle of Armor and I went to buy new clothing, and I could buy multiple things in one get-go. And I was thinking about, I love Animal Crossing, I love the 𝐓𝐲𝐷 sisters, but I'm like, why can't I buy 2 colors of the same dress at once? Why do I have to buy everything separate, walk out, walk back in? You know, there's a lot of little things that I'm like, maybe this is something only seasoned Animal Crossing fans follow, but I know some of this is stuff that I know Daniel's brought up and been like, yeah, also weird.
It's a good
So-
like, for example, if you're ordering something through Nook Shopping, which is like an online catalog order, why do you have to have cash in your pocket to pay for it? That makes no actual sense.
You're standing at the machine that holds your money.
And we used to have some
or even using your phone to order it. Like,
Yeah, and City Folk, I actually don't remember for New Leaf, but I know for City Folk we had a little card. It was basically a debit card, so you could
didn't have
hold
that in New Leaf.
millions of bells.
Yeah.
And because you went to the city and you wanted room in your pockets, but I'm like, can we have that back? I would like that so that when I visit a friend's island and they have the $1 million bell crown, even though I already bought that. Like I'm at a point where I have almost 4 million bells in my savings because I've paid off everything.
oh,
Only 4 million?
20 million bells.
I buy a lot of stuff. I buy a lot of stuff unnecessarily.
Okay, but here's a weird thought. Why are the only, aside from just like multi-selecting things, like say I want to buy this shirt in 5 different colors and I don't want to keep going in and out of the dressing room buying it, but also why are my only options to wear it or send it to my house's storage?
Right?
Why can't I not just put it in my pocket?
And then
Because
I
a lot of the
always
time
have
what I'll
my
do,
outfit and put it on.
because this is what I do, is I'll buy gifts for my villagers, for example, and a lot of times it's clothing. I'm like, oh, Punchy would look great in that sweater. I'm going to buy this sweater for Punchy, right? And so then what I'll do is I'll go into 𝐓𝐲𝐷 sisters, take off my shirt, then go into the dressing room and buy it, and then wear it, and then change back to my normal clothes.
Such a good idea.
So that I don't have to go back home to get it.
That's like,
This makes no sense. If you're wearing your construction helmet and you
Yeah.
go in, it automatically gets rid of it. If you're wearing your swimsuit, they tell you need to take your swimsuit off before going in. And I'm like,
Why can't you just automatically do it?
I get this game is intended for 10-year-olds, but let's be honest, it's mostly 20-year-olds who need a getaway. Also, I didn't know this till yesterday that from March to the end of June, that game sold 22 million copies. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah, that was the Animal Crossing is the
good.
#1 selling original Switch game.
it's
Yep.
number 2.
No, it's behind Mario Kart Deluxe, which
Mario
is
Kart 8
a
Deluxe. But
remake.
Mario Kart 8
Right.
Deluxe
It's not
has
an
had,
original.
2 years. Oh, okay, fair. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
I
like
was like,
the
I
best-selling original.
And it's because it's for everyone. It came out at very good timing. Everyone thought it was going to tank
Oh, yeah.
because of that. And I'm
Oh,
like, ooh.
best
No.
timing. It was basically
Best
like
timing.
everyone is self-isolating and stuck in their houses. Time to give you the escape. You're home away from home.
Yep.
I remember
And also,
starting the stream and I
basically-
legit just started crying. I was so happy.
And do you remember when everyone was so mad that they delayed it?
I mean,
I
okay,
was
so
okay with that.
I have
Was
my
it
ups and
delayed
downs
so
with
much
that.
as?
Well, they delayed
Okay.
it, but then I feel like we didn't really. I don't
And
know.
then the
I-
tease for Smash Brothers. Do you guys
Oh.
remember?
The one that was
that
on
was-
like that
Oh,
Tournament
Yeah.
Island stage in Smash, and people thought it was
Didn't
Animal
you,
Crossing.
you thought it was Animal Crossing? Geek. The
Yeah,
Smash Bros thing.
And then they were like, it's Isabelle coming to Smash. And I was like,
How
I hate
dare you.
everything.
Yeah.
Because I've now sat through 2 game, whatever that show is. The thing that has the same
Oh, the Game
initials
Awards?
as the Game Awards, has the same initials as my channel.
Right.
Because I remember like some YouTuber was like, I'm gonna watch TGA tonight, and I was like,
That's me.
oh
Oh.
no, humble yourself, no. But I remember sitting through 2 of those and like, I started watching these too late. Why couldn't I have started watching when like Breath of the Wild won Game of the Year or something? No, my experience was that weird
You got to.
satanic ritual thing going on, and I'm sitting here like, I don't want to see this. I don't.
What are you
there are-
talking about?
I don't know. There was some game that
Why
like
miss that?
some girl was chanting something. It was really cool graphics, like it was really legit, and I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. And then I see limbs hanging everywhere, and I'm like, oh, this is gross. And then it changes, and she's like, got like this crazy makeup on. Her hair looks really cool. It's like dreadlocks, and I'm just like, like
Yeah.
this is not
you
what I want
hated
to see. Bring me back to the Muppets doing Untitled Beaker game.
Mhm.
Oh no.
Also, I'm like both happy and mad Untitled Goose Game is getting a physical copy because I'm like, I want a physical copy, but I already have it.
Right? Right? It's like same with Cadence, I think, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Is it?
As
Oh.
well. Yeah, and it's like I already bought this game though.
To be fair, someone
Hey.
bought Cadence for me. But still,
We're friends with the guy. Well, sort of
Okay.
friends with the
Cadence
Cadence
I got
people.
I got that as a review code.
Yeah, they've
So-
wanted to come on a bunch of
What's-
times, and I always schedule for them to come on, but then we never have the podcast on the day that we schedule for them to come on, and I'm just like,
Oh
I'm sorry.
no.
But every single time,
Desiree!
every single time, they're just like, oh, well, next time, man. But like they seem like they're really interested, and I'm like, okay,
The guys who do
It's all
Cadence,
better.
yeah.
they're a Vancouver-based studio, right? They're in my city.
That's why they gave us the codes.
All right, Daniel, let's go. Let's go do an in-person interview with them.
Sweet. I'm going. See ya.
Oh, I'm coming with.
Cause didn't you talk to him about the did we have them on?
No.
No.
You talked to someone about an ice dungeon music thing.
That was for Blossom Tales.
Oh,
As soon
did
as you said
we
Ice
talk to the
Dungeon
Blossom
music, I was
Tales
like,
people?
Oh. I
Did
don't
we-
know if we had them on. I don't think so.
I don't think
Why were you
did.
talking
I got
about
the
ice
review code
things?
I got the review code for that one, and I remember we did a segment where I spoke about it, but I don't remember actually talking to the people behind.
I
Blossom
remember
Tales.
someone Daniel
Except on
talking
Twitter.
about ice, and then someone from the game replying about the ice.
Maybe they showed up to the chat. That seems like because
What was the game
they're
you were
on Twitter.
talking
They're
about
very
before
responsive.
Blossom Tales?
Cadence.
Oh, okay. I got mixed up. I was thinking Cadence was Blossom Tales. Okay, never mind. We're
No,
not
different.
friends with the Cadence people.
We got
Oh,
really
okay.
derailed.
Yeah.
Did
We
we?
got really angry about Animal
Doesn't
Crossing,
everyone
but
like
Daniel
to-
needs to give us his 2021 prediction.
Oh,
Just have to say really quick though, has anyone seen the video of the dude doing the singing of that dude from Cadence? The guy that's always
No.
the shop owner. He's like, there's a dude legit singing. And he's like doing all these things to his throat to get the sound. It's hilarious and my favorite thing.
Oh, that was me.
that's incredible.
Anyway, everyone look that up later. Sorry.
Great. My prediction's really lame. I think they're
didn't
gonna
shave
tease
today.
us. Sorry?
Did you shave today?
No, I did not.
I can tell.
You can tell I'm a little. You know what's
Does it
great
look like
about
I
it
shaved
though?
today?
The day the day after I shave, if I have an itch, I could just go like this. Itch. There you go. Scratched it.
I use an
it's
electric
perfect.
one though.
It's perfect. It's like sandpaper.
What do you guys
Anyways,
use?
my
Do
prediction
you
is
guys
very
use a
lame.
normal razor or an electric one, Tubes?
I use a normal
No, I'm talking about
acoustic.
Tubes and Geek
acoustic
when they
razor.
shave their face.
I use a not electric razor
Oh.
when I shave my mustache.
Yeah.
Nice.
My peach fuzz.
No, okay, Daniel.
Okay.
Your
2021.
your
Metroid.
prediction. Someone's gonna click on this video
That's-
being like, "Oh, Nintendo 2021 predictions,
They're-
neat,"
And that's
and they're
yeah.
like,
Metroid.
"Why
That's
are they
my
talking
prediction.
about coffee shops in Animal Crossing for an hour?"
I even drink coffee, but I love Brewster.
Oh dear.
Okay, Daniel.
It's Metroid. Just
You
they're
think
gonna
they're
Yeah,
tease it?
they're
Metroid.
gonna tease it. It's just
Prime-
a tease.
At this rate, Metroid's
Hunters.
gonna happen before Halo Infinite, so we got that going on.
Metroid Prime Hunters, DS remake
Prime
for
2
Switch.
had to compete with Halo 2. They came out around the same time.
What?
Well, it was actually kind of like a meme on Twitter today because Halo Infinite just got delayed again, and people were like, "Halo delayed Infinite."
Oh no.
And then there was a poll that was like, "What game do you think's gonna come out first? Metroid 4, or is it going to be Halo Infinite?" And then Joey Ferris was like, "Are you guys really that stupid that you think we're gonna get Metroid before Halo?" So
Yeah.
that's
He's got a
fun.
point. Metroid games take an infamously long time.
Like
They're
this
notorious
game
for
already
taking
had
a long time to come out.
Yeah, this game already had a trailer, a release date, visuals, images, promotional material, and Metroid
Yeah.
had a title that was then removed.
A logo, and then they're like, "We're starting
Blue
over."
flames behind
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's like,
It was. Yeah.
so you think Metroid?
I think they're just gonna tease something. That's my only prediction. I think we're getting to the point where what year was it? 2018 that they announced it was delayed and they were restarting development. So
Yeah.
like 3 years of development later, I feel like Retro Studios they've got their stuff together. They do really great work. I feel like that's enough time for them to at least give us a trailer. Sure.
What was the last game
I think
Retro made?
Pikmin game they said was almost
last-
done.
The last game that Retro Studios published was Tropical Freeze.
Jinx.
So
Oh.
they've had time to do stuff. Like
Jeez, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. And then sure they probably worked on just porting it from the Wii U to Switch. But like what else have they been doing all this time?
So like, if we got a remake, what do you think it would be? Like Prime Hunters?
A remake of a Metroid game?
Do you remember the DS
have to be-
Prime game? The one that everyone
I don't think
forgets?
they're gonna do that. I would say like a lot of people want Samus Returns from the
Or
3DS.
The
But I
other
feel like that
3DS
takes-
game, the sports
What?
ball one.
Metroid Prime Pinball?
No, the sports ball one.
Oh, the Federation Force, the
Yeah.
Blast Ball. No, I don't think that's
I remember.
the thing is okay.
Can I say really quick?
All right.
It was a legendary interview with Reggie. I think it was the
yes.
guy that hosts the
It was
Game Awards.
Regine Dairy.
Yeah, and they were like, they're basically talking about a bunch of stuff, and he brings up Metroid Prime Federation Force, and Reggie was like, "We know what game the Metroid fans want.
Mm-hmm. It's because they couldn't announce it
And,
yet.
Yeah, like it was really weird. It was like we know what they want, and like he couldn't say anything else. So
Yeah.
he was basically saying like, we know they don't want this game, but in the meantime, it's all you have. But we do know what you want, and we are working on it. We just can't say it. It was just like a really weird interview where like he accidentally slipped up, and then he just couldn't finish his sentence.
He couldn't recover. Marketing
Yeah.
team was probably hating on him. But realistically, I don't think they're going to port Samus Returns from 3DS, despite what a lot of people want, because to port a 3DS game to the Switch,
Yeah, it was
it's
so
not just
hard
like
with
retexturing it.
Hyrule
They gotta
Warriors
add
and the Yoshi
polygons.
game.
Woolly World was like down. Okay, when they ported Woolly World from Wii U to 3DS, they were basically like scaling the game down. But to scale a 3DS game up to Switch, it's gonna look like hot garbage unless they basically completely redo all the visuals and not just retexturing and upresing. They have to like add more polygon counts to everything. Because even like honestly, Samus Returns is a very fun game, but it's kind of ugly. It's I'm just putting it out there. Like it's graphically
One
not
thing
that
though,
great.
when they make the textures for the 3DS games, like they make them in like high quality, and then they downsample them to fit the 3DS game. So like they're not spending all their time making crappy looking textures. Like they look really good, and then they just downsample them so they'll fit on like the 240p screen. So they
I just don't
still
think that
have
would
the
still
high
be
quality
100%
images. They just can't use them.
The thing is, like, Samus Returns art style in general, I think is good. Like, you look at the promotional stuff and, like, the renders that they've done for, like, advertisement purposes and the cover art and stuff, and it's gorgeous. And then you play the game and you're like, oh,
What if they
Great.
bought MSR2?
MSR2? What? Are you talking about AM2R?
Yeah, AM2. What MSR2?
AM2R was a fan project.
Yeah, what
though.
if they bought it? Like the
If
Sonic.
they bought it?
Yeah, like the Sonic guys. They paid the
This
guys that was
Nintendo
making
we're
the Sonic
talking about.
fan game, and then they got Sonic.
Oh, right. So, like, Sonic
Mania.
Mania, where
Yeah.
Sega actually hired a bunch of Sonic fans who were doing, like, Sonic fan mods. And
Yeah,
then
they
made them-
were making the fan
got them to make
games.
their actual, and it was
Yeah.
like the best Sonic game ever created.
So what if they got that? What if they just bought
That's
that game
saying
from that
something.
dude?
I don't think Nintendo would do that. I don't know. Nintendo's protective of their IPs, where Sega's like, they're Sega. They do things in a very different way. So
Alright.
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
see that happen. But yeah, anyways, I don't think it'll be
Okay.
Samus Returns. I think it'll be Prime Trilogy if they were to port one game, like port any games over, because that just seems
If they
to make
port
the most
one
sense.
game over, it's going to be Prime Trilogy.
It'll be
if it's
like
one game,
that was
it'll
like
be
that was
three.
sold as like one Wii game was Prime Trilogy. That's what I choose. If you do any other game, like any other game, you could just put
Motion
on like a
controls?
classic system. Super Metroid, boom, it's on the Super Nintendo Classic games, all that are on the Switch already, right?
What about the other one?
Which other one?
Metroid.
Fusion?
No,
Zero Mission?
on Wii.
There's other Metroid games.
The one
What?
where they like.
Oh,
completely-
Other M?
Yeah.
I try not to think about that. I haven't played it.
They had a cool
Which is
trailer.
worse,
forget.
Other M or Hey Pikmin?
Hey,
Okay, at least
you
Other
don't
M has
talk
defenders.
bad about
That's-
Daniel's favorite game.
Other M has defenders. I've never heard someone be like, "Hey, Pikmin's a good game." I don't.
Hello.
Hey, Pikmin.
It's all over
I don't like-
Twitter that
Stop.
Daniel loves Hey Pikmin. Like you can find
Stop.
that quote all over Twitter. Daniel loves Hey Pikmin. It's there.
It breaks my heart.
It's everywhere.
I honestly, I bought
The
the
name
game.
of
I
this
tried
video could be
objectively.
Daniel loves Hey
I
Pikmin.
wanted to see
never
if
know.
it was good.
The future.
Everyone was talking badly about it. I went in with an open mind, and it's not good. Okay, it's not a good game.
See, he's one of those people
not.
when he lies. As soon as he gets out of view of people, he has to like start like physically hurting himself to make up for all the lies that he's saying.
Break my heart.
Yeah. So like every time he says I hate Pikmin, he like has a belt that he just hits himself on the back with.
What?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know
No.
why you do it.
You make me sad.
I don't know. I was watching this
That's
Orthodox Jewish movie thing, and like they were doing it
What?
because they were doing bad
That's
stuff.
random.
Anyways,
it was like the 90s.
I am definitely
Orthodox
not.
Jewish. They had cool hats,
That's not me. Anyways, I don't.
not the beards.
Hey Pikmin was not a good one. And if
Yeah.
Miyamoto comes out and says that was Pikmin 4, guys, I will cry every day. But there was Pikmin 3 Deluxe was announced. That wasn't in our news slate, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Pikmin,
Nope.
It wasn't. It should be, guys. Pikmin 3 Deluxe coming out. It looks really good. Pikmin 3 is my favorite Pikmin game, and they're porting it to Switch. The game is like just a really good looking game.
Okay,
even
so
for
how
a
are you gonna
Wii
do
game.
the
It looks
top-down
beautiful.
thing?
And they're adding more features to it. They're adding an extra chapter, a prologue, and an epilogue to the game where you play as Olimar and Louis instead
How
of
are you
Alf,
doing
Brittany,
the
and
top-down
Charlie.
thing?
And there's going to be new challenge missions, and they're adding co-op mode to the story mode, and it looks really
How are
good,
you
guys, and
doing
I'm
the
very
top-down?
excited. Sorry, what?
When you're playing the
Okay.
game on the TV, you have the normal
Yeah.
thing that you'll see on
yeah.
the Switch. But then on the gamepad, you have the top-down view.
Okay, so that's just your map, though.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
But
like
it's
your
like
map.
it's a
You
really
could just
cool
pause.
top-down view.
And when you want to look at the map anyways, and you touch it, it pauses anyways. So you just pause the game, and then it put the map on the TV. Problem solved. It's like what I assume Breath of the Wild was gonna be. They had the map on the gamepad, and then they cut that, and they're like, you know what, just pause.
Like
and the
Wind
map
Waker
comes
and
up.
Twilight Princess.
Yeah. I assume it's just gonna be the same thing.
But
They
it
just
wasn't.
change
It wasn't a map. It was like the actual. Like it was better than a map. It was like the models,
Well,
right?
It was better than the map because it was like actually like a. No, it was just like a map. I was actually just playing this game earlier today because I was like, I want to play Pikmin now.
Of course you
were. So, anyway, it is your map, but what's nice about it is that you can command, like you can tell your teammates to go do stuff.
Why do you
Like,
think
can
they're
point-
waiting to
You
release
can put a
it?
spot on the map and then tell them to walk there, and then you can go do something else, and then they'll be like, okay, I walked to where I was gonna walk. Now what?
Do
And
you,
it's-
do you think this was a game they were
Good.
always going to release, or do you think like the virus happened and they were like, oh, we need to like
we need
release
some
something
games.
fast? Like what can we do in a hurry? And they were like, oh, we can like make extra content for Pikmin. Do you think that like something like that could have happened?
I don't know, but I'm very excited about it. Okay, and honestly, like it feels like that full retail price tag is a lot more justified because they're actually adding a bunch of stuff to it,
Yeah,
including like extra chapters to the story mode.
yeah, but no top-down map.
That feels. I'm okay with. The thing is though, like playing games on the Wii U where having the two screens is vital.
Do you think we'll get
Is
a
actually
Hey
like
Pikmin
it takes me out of
collection?
the game a little bit.
Like if they just got all the Hey Pikmin games and put them together on one collection.
There's only one. There's only one.
Yeah, so like
There's-
it'd be easy for them.
I just
He's out. Look what you've done.
I'm trying to break him.
why?
So that's why it's the best
Jesse
game
asking
in
me
the world.
questions about Hey Pikmin
Yeah.
is my personal
Like,
purgatory.
If we made the perfect top 5 Hey Pikmin collection, what games do you think would be on there?
Oh no!
The heck?
This is a great segment.
What's
in
the
which
next
You're just
topic?
terrible the entire time.
What's the next topic?
I haven't even looked at the Google Doc.
I don't think we have a next topic. I think we're hopping into the mailbag.
Okay, let's do that, shall we?
Oh yeah,
It's
we got
weird because like
the
we
top
didn't
2
really like
questions.
structure our topics, but we still touched base on a lot of important topics that have
Yeah.
happened recently.
True.
It's what happens when you turn a weekly podcast into a monthly podcast.
Big. Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah,
Big
no longer best
right.
Zelda podcast in the world.
No, it still is. It's more of a treasure because you don't know when it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
that's true.
You don't know when
That's
you're going to
true.
get sick, people. Wash your hands.
Love us
Wear a
for
mask.
what
Wash
we
your
are.
hands.
Daniel and Layla will take over the channel.
It's me and a 4-year-old. Not my 4-year-old.
It's someone else's 4-year-old.
It's not
which
even
is
your own
more
kid.
confusing.
What's the first question? I think it's from. There's one from Sheikah.
The long
Witch,
ones.
And then
There's There's some good ones.
There's one guy with 2 questions. I forgot their names, but they're at the top. I remember I put them there.
Hey, I gotta know, before we start the mailbag, what time is too late to drink coffee?
Always.
I try not to drink coffee after 2 p.m.
Dang it!
Wait, really?
I try not to after 2 p.m.
But like when we were in LA, you were just like caffeine 24/7.
LA is party time.
LA, all rules went out the window. I was like having
Also-
coffee all the way through the day. I was also starting to drink beers at like 11 a.m. So like,
I think it was like 1 or 2 coffees in the morning, and then after that, all of the liquids that he ingested turned into beer.
that's probably
Oh my
more
gosh.
But he never got drunk.
No. I drink responsibly. You know,
Me
you
too.
can,
Daniel,
you can
that-
enjoy, like a drink, an adult beverage, you know, without like completely binging and every single time. You know, like you know what I'm trying to say. Words.
Possible to drink for 12 hours without getting drunk.
Can
Just
you?
do
Yeah,
it
you
the Daniel way.
just space it out. Just
Unless you're
pace
lightweight
yourself.
like me, I literally could have like half a bottle of hard cider, and I can't think.
Oh no.
That's how
Oh,
much of
no.
a lightweight I am, so I just don't drink.
They're still on the boat.
That's shocking.
There's a reason why I have no problem being DD. Although
There you go.
typically I just, when my friends go to bars, I'm just like, yeah, I like my bed. Comfy.
Maybe I'll come pick you up if you ask me nicely.
Yeah.
Alright, so Daniel, what's the question?
Okay, I'm doing this. Like, okay, sure. This question is from 𝐓𝐿𝐴𝐥𝐿𝐿. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Question for the mailbag. You did a video a while back about Breath of the Wild 2 being inspired by Red Dead Redemption 2. Even in the first Breath of the Wild, it was evident that the theme had played and been inspired by other open world games made by other companies. So the question is, if you could pick one element or feature from another open world game that you would love to see inspire something in Breath of the Wild 2, what would that be?
Yeah, so that quote was from Miyamoto, and it was like the one statement
Was it
Nintendo
not
kept on
Aonuma?
giving out. I think it was just from
What?
Nintendo in general.
Oh, I don't know then.
They
Okay.
were like, Breath of the Wild 2, like, all of the developers are really into Red Dead Redemption 2 right now, is what they were saying.
So is my stepdad.
And then, with Breath of the Wild, Aonuma kept on saying that he was addicted to Skyrim. Which, for people who don't know, Elder Scrolls, or Skyrim, has the Dragon Break thing. Which is where the whole Dragon Break of Breath of the Wild comes from. Because in that game, all
This
of
is
the split timelines come together. And in Breath
This
of
is
the
true.
Wild, seemingly all of the split timelines also come together. And so it's very convenient that the one game that Aonuma said inspired Breath of the Wild had the same thing happen. Which is where Daniel's
Potentially.
famous Dragon
Totally.
Break came from.
This. Woohoo.
Where
It's true.
everything that could have happened did happen.
I would say it's kind of a weird. It's not specific to open world games, but I've been playing Horizon lately, Horizon Zero Dawn, because for some reason I've been sleeping on that game, and then it was on PS4 summer sale for $22, and I'm like, oh, here's an $80 game that includes all of its DLC for $22. I'm gonna buy it.
Can I say I
Yeah.
made a
Yes.
video like whenever I used to do just like quick news videos that had like 2 or 3 topics. One of them was that game getting a discount, and it was
Oh.
like I said something like I don't know anyone that would pay like whatever it was for that game at the time. And it was like when it first got cut, so it was like $40 and it was on sale. So that was part of the news video. And to this day, I still get comments from people. It's like, well, I just bought it used for $10. And I'm like, it's 2 years ago that I made this video. I don't care how much you bought the game for. Of course it got cheaper. Like, why are you commenting?
Those comments are so annoying. I'm like, did you look at the date of this video? Yes, I know there's a prequel to Hunger Games. I have 5 videos on it.
Yeah,
Did you
Oh,
know
yeah.
there's a prequel to Hunger Games? Yes, this
She
video's
gets it.
3 years old.
she gets it.
No, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
the one thing I like in
Slytherin
Horizon,
over
and again,
there.
there's this in other games too, but Horizon's an open world game, and I've been playing it recently, so that's why it's on my mind.
They
But
got part 2.
it has a nice skill point system. So when I first started playing the game, I was like, "Oh, the combat in this is pretty bare bones." And there's a lot of parallels between Horizon and Breath of the Wild. You know, ancient civilization had advanced technology and has now died out, but machines to walk around. You know, there's
Did you get to the
walk
big
around in
spoiler?
this very naturalistic world, and you have a bow, and you can even jump off a ledge in slow mo with your bow. Like, so there's a lot of like parallels between them, but the skill point system in that game is pretty fun because the combat starts out pretty bare bones, but as you progress through the game and you get these skill points, you can slowly sort of increase your character's abilities of what they're able to do. Like, oh, now you can do this special move that you couldn't do before, and the way they dull it out, and you can kind of pick and choose what you want to spend your skill points on, is a really well integrated system. That a lot of games do that, but it would be neat. Not necessarily saying they have to do skill points for Breath of the Wild 2, but a way where the game progresses in an open world fashion, but you still progressively gain new abilities and skills throughout it in maybe a similar fashion. It would be kind of cool to see, because in Breath of the Wild, you get all of your abilities on the Great Plateau, and other than that, it's just more stamina, more hearts. But everything else, other than maybe upgrading the runes at the tech lab, pretty much everything else, it's like you just have to rely on your own skill. There's no like in-game skills that you learn, if that makes sense. So yeah, just a thought there.
Okay.
That's an answer. That's all I got. Who's
Tubes.
next?
You were doing the wave, Tubes.
Doing the wave.
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking that, like, I don't think that there are a lot of other, like, open world games that I've really been into. So I feel like I probably don't have the best opinion on this, because as far as, like, open world games go, like, I played, like, Elder Scrolls, and I played, a little bit of Horizon Zero Dawn, but not a lot of it. So I honestly, I don't know. And I wish that I had played more of open world games, because I remember that when Breath of the Wild came out, a lot of people were like this is very bare bones for an open world game. Like, yes, it's an amazing game. Yes, it has a lot going on for it. But in terms of
$2
open
from
world,
Just X.
Oh,
look
super
at him.
chat.
He's throwing money at
What has
us.
been something you have blamed Daniel for? Hashtag blame Daniel.
That's a list.
Hashtag
All right.
I'm gonna tell you so many things.
Continue,
I blame
Tubes.
myself for too many things.
So someone decided to blame you because I walked like 10 kilometers yesterday?
Jesse stubs his toe, and then hashtag blame Daniel is all over Twitter.
Oh no, my toe was my toe was legit black for 8 months.
Ow.
But yeah,
My fault.
I unfortunately
I got
I don't have an aspect from an open world game that I'd like to add to this, because I am not educated enough and do not know.
Oh,
I'm in the same boat as Tubes. The only open world game for me was legit Breath of the Wild.
oh.
It's the only one I've played. I've watched Dark Souls because my brother made me.
Is Dark Souls open world? I actually haven't played
Is
Dark
it?
I
Souls.
don't think Dark Souls is
Oh.
open.
I'm scared of it.
Never mind. See? I don't know anything.
It's kind of like a Metroid-ish, to where like you can go anywhere, but there's a lot of backtracking.
Yes.
I just remember being like, yeah, this is dark. Go away. I want to play Breath of the Wild now.
That's fair. I like that game. Anyway.
So, jeez, I just looked it up. Oh, the open world game that I would like is an indie game called The Witness, where you're on an island and every single thing on the island, literally every single thing, is part of a bigger puzzle. There's no action in the game, like there's no fighting. You're just walking around trying to solve a puzzle, and then you solve that puzzle, and it connects to this other puzzle, and then like you realize, oh, well, these things match, so then this other big thing matches. So I would like a Zelda game to where like instead of like the weird tiny puzzles you get to where it's like, oh, you just put this rock on this other rock and now there's a thing there. Korok pops out. I would like it to where you solve a really good puzzle
Mm-hmm.
and then like a cave or something opens up. Like I really like the caves in Twilight Princess that you could go into, and there'd be like little mini dungeons and stuff. You could like drop down and then there'd be a chest, or like you'd have to drop down and switch to the iron boots while you're in midair so you can get stuck on the wall. So stuff like that.
It just made me think of the show Lost.
Oh,
I never even finished that series, so I don't know what
tried
happened.
watching the first episode.
I skipped and watched the last episode, and I was just as pissed as everyone.
oh no.
I don't recommend doing that with shows.
No,
Don't
I
yeah.
once
I don't either.
I
That's like the equivalent of buying a book and then like fingering over to the last page, reading the last sentence, and then being like, okay.
no.
Man, I could have saved myself a lot of heartache if I did that with Game of Thrones. I should have just watched the last episode and been like,
So this really happened. It was the first time my older brother, was like really into a movie or a TV show, and he was like halfway through the seasons. And jokingly, I said, "Oh, I already finished it." Like the main guy, like he dies at the end. Just joking. And it turns out, like that's really how it ends. So like, yeah. I completely
got another
ruined it for
super
him
chat.
on
Just throwing
accident.
another $2.
For reals,
For
fave
reals.
mask of the series.
Bunny Hood.
I have a
Hood.
video
Oh,
coming
dang
out.
it. Yeah.
Greater
I-
running speed, better than everything else.
But
Bunny
also
Hood.
Fierce Deity mask because it's actually a mask.
We have a
No, the
month-old
Bremen mask. I like the
video
music.
that's coming out about that.
It's Bunny Hood. That's the best one.
Abigail, The Office USA.
Favorite show that you've ever watched?
Yeah, Daniel.
It's a tie between Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Avatar: The Last Airbender.
How did
Well,
I
that's
know
not
that was
fair.
gonna be
You're
your
in that.
answer?
You're in that show. You can't pick
That's
your
why it's my
own
favorite.
show.
I'm not the real Andy Samberg.
Yeah. Well,
It's true.
your Discord name says otherwise, Mr. Mulaney.
My
That's
favorite
beside the point.
shows would be New Girl or Steven Universe. Those
Oh,
are my
wait,
top
so
two.
Daniel, have you seen? So you know John
I watched
Mulaney.
New Girl per your recommendation, Shoot, and I hated the last season. I hated it so much, but other than that, it was good. So
I want to know why you hated it. Because it was really badly written and it was a rush job.
it was clearly rushed, and they're like they worked the whole. I don't want to spoil anything, but they worked the whole show building up to all this stuff, and then the last season, they're like, guess what? Time skip. A year went by, and everyone's suddenly super successful.
Right?
And they're like, what? I want to see them go from rags to riches, as it were, not
I'm
like
so
just
glad you
skip
watched
over
the
that.
show.
Oh, I
that
was
show
so
much.
mad. I was so mad. I love Schmitty and Winston, though. They're my favorite.
I
but-
love Winston's dynamic and how much he
Winston's-
loves cats, and there's like the scene where they're all like putting
Winston's
their hands
great.
in and he puts a paw in.
Winston's great, but anyways,
$2.
I hated the last season.
What's your
so
favorite
much.
Link personality-wise? From Con Nugget, who's done
They
voice
all
Twilight
have
actors.
Princess.
What?
Maybe.
Twilight
Twilight
Princess?
Princess.
It's not just because he gets shirtless, right?
Well,
Shut
It's the
up.
personality one.
I would say
Twilight Princess Link is the one that I
Skyward
had the
Sword
most
of
feeling
Link.
for.
Me too, but that's because I was a teenage girl. I was shirtless.
He was just nice to look at.
Also-
He was really well drawn.
Was.
His hair looked good.
they
His
did that on
face looked
purpose.
good.
no. Oh no. I like Twilight Princess Link as well, but probably not for the shirtless reasons.
If you
I say
read
probably.
if you read the Iwata Asks, they made him look like that purposefully. They wanted him
I mean,
to look
thankfully
really
he still looks
manly and mature.
boyish. You know, he's only like 17. But that's why, as a 25-year-old, I'm like, I probably shouldn't still think
Uh-oh.
anything of that. You know what I mean?
The
Well,
older I get, the creepier my likes for Link is
I think
going
he's
to get.
supposed to be
Right?
adult.
My crush on Link began when I was 3, okay? Ocarina of Time.
It's not my fault he doesn't age like I do.
Oh no. Oh no.
Well, A Link
Um,
Between
oh,
Worlds
dear.
has Old Man Link.
True.
To be fair, Twilight Princess has Hero Shade.
Yeah.
That's old man Link.
It's very old.
Old
Man Link.
old.
But he may have died young. We
Personality
don't know.
wise, though, there's not a lot of personality to go around between.
Wind
all the
Waker
different-
had a lot of personality, but
That's true. That's true.
Ocarina
wasn't-
of
Twilight
Time
Princess.
Link, he just gets a cow in his room, and he's like, I guess this cow lives in my bedroom now.
Yeah.
Like
So
when you rescue, who is it? You rescue someone, and they give you a cow as a present, and it's just like,
Oh no, you
this-
get it for
Malin-
don't you get it for, like
Dad.
doing the mini game with Malin at
Oh,
Long Range?
yeah.
Oh,
but then
thought
it's
it was
like,
for her dad.
then it's just like this cow's just stuck in your bedroom for the rest of the game, and it's like, what?
In
What are you-
fairness, that bedroom is his entire house.
yeah, like what
So-
are you?
True.
What are you doing with it? How did you get him up the ladder?
How'd they get it? How'd they get it up the ladder? That's the real question we were all asking.
Yeah, that's the cutscene I want to
The-
see from Ura
The
Zelda.
cutscene, them trying to like pull the cow up the ladder, or maybe they had a pulley system. You know, they had to like go in and set up a pulley and
Yeah, That's-
magic.
that's the cutscene I
So the
want to
magic
see
means
removed from the 64 disc drive. Instead of them just being like, "Oh, there's a cow in your
Oh, no.
bedroom," now it's like, "All right, come
You
on."
have to get the cow to your bedroom.
maybe it's one of those things where like this is better not answered.
Yeah,
Come just this Twilight Princess came out when I was 6, so I
Chips
think
is
I'm
gone.
kind of in the clear. When you were 6, I was in high school. Oh,
Wait a minute, hold on. I need to see when Twilight Princess came out because now I'm
Came out
wondering how old I
2006.
actually was. Holy crap! I was 11.
oh, I remember Twilight Princess. I was a teacher's aide
Yeah.
for computer class, so I would spend every minute looking up more information on the game. At the time, it was called The Legend of Zelda tentative title.
mm-hmm. That's right.
Tentative
What I
title.
remember was like my brother got it, but I wasn't interested. The last game I played was Wind Waker, and I got into this phase where most of my friends didn't play video games, and I
Uh-huh.
didn't realize that I was still allowed to like video games. Anyway, but then I like saw footage of that, and I was like, "This is a good looking Link. I like this game." Sorry, but then I got to college, so I must have been like 19 or something, and then I started getting back into Zelda because I found a bunch of guy friends who like Zelda, and they were so shocked that a girl likes Zelda, and I was like, I know we're in the minority, but like, we exist. Especially me. I just don't come across as a gamer. But anyway, so I started looking up like different theories and stuff, and I was like, I want to look into Twilight Princess, and started watching someone's Let's Play of it, and I can't help but hear this dude's voice whenever I play it now, even though his voice did not match the aesthetic of the game at all.
Was
I'm
that
trying to
Zelda
remember who it
Dungeon guy?
was. But anyway, I remember it got to like the sumo wrestling scene, and I was like, this is the best Link.
There you go.
Oh, and other news,
That's probably the
For sure it was
creepiest I get.
my diet. While we're waiting on Tubes, my diet.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Tubes.
Guess how much I
exploded.
weigh now. Because remember, I was struggling between 200
like-
and 210 on my diet. Remember?
195 is
Like
my
I went
guess.
from like 160-ish down to like 200 and 210, and it just like kept on going back and forth for a
Okay.
while. So where am I now? We can play the number game,
90.
I don't know.
and you can
Less
notice
than 200.
my double chin is almost gone.
I don't know. My whole view on people's body weights is, well, first of all, I try not to guess people's
Right.
body weights, but also
That's the
I
best
put on a
part.
bunch of weight recently, and so I look the exact same, so I have no idea anymore what numbers even mean.
But this is my
Because
favorite.
it
When I
has
look
to
at
be
old
relative to your height.
videos, when I
True.
look at old videos and like I have a big double chin and my face is wider, and I'm like, no. Now like it's kind of still there, but
That's how I feel about my
But-
first videos.
like my
So my first
jawline.
videos were when I
Good.
was still a senior in college,
There's
Oh.
50 people
And I was
watching.
not
They're like,
eating-
what the heck are with
correctly. Like, I
jeez.
wish I could say, oh, I just ate like a poor college student. No, I mean legit. My diet was spoonful of Nutella in the morning, if I didn't have bread.
Wait, that should have just been the right reaction. But also Nutella's
Oh,
really yummy.
It is delicious.
Jessica's
And then throughout
with
the
you.
day, I would have
What a Mary
chips
Link.
or candy bars, and then I'd have pasta for dinner.
Oh
Sounds
no,
yummy.
that's a terrible diet.
Yeah, that was me
Terrible.
every day senior year, and I wondered why I felt
delicious.
like poop.
Tubes.
I masked it well, but then I got healthy, and I was like, wow, so this is what it's like to be healthy.
You have to guess tubes. On my
For
We're
some
guessing
reason, we're
diet.
guessing Jesse's weight.
Yeah, my
It's a
diet.
guessy for the Jesse.
Because I noticed like I
You
I
said I'm
actually
guessing on your weight?
yeah, I
how much
actually
does
have a
Jesse weigh?
jawline
But you have to guess his weight in pine cones.
and there's no double chin anymore. Like my old
Because-
videos,
Pine cones.
if you remember my old videos, my face was wider and I had a double chin and I didn't really have a jawbone, but now if you look,
Well, it's hard because you're also really tall. So I'm gonna ballpark 180.
I'll go in between the two of them, 185.
All right.
Daniel had
I
it
said 190.
on
With
the
190?
dot. When you said 195.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then I changed my answer to be wrong.
Because I was
Dang.
between 200 and 210, and like since I dropped below 200, I've been like I feel really sick though. I don't know why. I don't think my body's meant to be.
It's not-
Hydrate.
Skinnier.
Hydrate. Hydrate.
Well,
You're also really tall, so
That's true. Very tall.
from what I've been told, I've
Just-
never been around you guys. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
I have
Thank
a
gosh.
feeling if we ever four actually got together in person, whoever took a picture of us would have to back up profusely to be able to get me in the shot.
How tall are
Oh,
you?
no.
5'2".
Well, Cece is like
Oh, no.
I think Cece is like 2 inches
Oh,
shorter.
she's shorter than
you.
me,
Yeah.
from what I've heard.
Yeah, CC was also really short. Because I'm 5'7".
In the
I'm like an average height for a female.
Yeah, that's average.
apparently.
in the picture with Cece,
Daniel,
I'm,
I
like,
think is probably like
Bindu.
5'10". I'm guessing.
5'10". Yeah.
Yeah,
That's correct.
and
It's
then
funny though, all my guy friends in real life are like at least 6 feet tall, so like I'm the short friend. And that's just a weird feeling. Just putting that out there.
My
like,
guy
going
friend
to
ended up being about
E3.
6 feet.
it was like me, Daniel, Jesse, RMFH.
Joey Ferris too.
No,
Oh my
God.
gosh. The first guy I ever dated
Oh,
was
no.
like 6'3", so he was 13 inches taller than me.
Oh my
So
gosh.
of course, all of my friends who were girls who were really tall were like, "Stop it, stop it! There's so few of them that are taller than us." And I'm like, "I'm sorry." So when we first got a picture together,
Sorry.
the person was having to back up a lot, and they couldn't get me in the shot. I was in 3-inch heels. I had to stand on a stool to get us both in the shot.
Oh no.
We're friends
All
now.
right.
It's all good, but it's
ne-
funny.
Next question.
That is funny. Next question.
Oh yeah.
What is the next question?
Are we going just in order?
You
Yeah,
pick whatever you want.
I think it's a Patreon
Sure.
supporter.
Oh, is
on the
Patreon
next
up
one.
top?
Okay.
The top 2.
Are they?
Yeah.
Should I ask it out loud? I just have chosen that. I guess I'm saying the next one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unless
So-
there's like bad
Never
words or
chronically elected.
something.
NSB Legends says, or asks, excuse me, when do you realistically think they will remake Ocarina of Time for Switch? So it's not a matter of if, but when.
Oh,
Um,
because I don't think they are going to.
I think it's already
I'm
finished.
getting serious doubts about it too. I used to think they'd bring it, and I want it, but I don't know.
I
I
think
feel like if they did, they would just do an N64 thing. But like you said about the controller, I don't know. Or just do it like a GameCube version. So I got so thrown off for a second. I look over at Tubes and I see literal Tube, and I was like, where'd she go?
Chewbacca.
Cherok.
Yeah.
Guys,
You
don't
okay
feel
with
bad for me because I'm short. It's good. It's just sad when I go to Walmart and I have to step on the 2 bottom shelves to reach the top shelf because I don't want to ask for help.
Oh no.
And then someone comes by and they're like, "Ma'am, you can't do that." And I'm like, "Well, I'm already here."
All right.
This is too
What
late.
about you, Tubes? What do you think? I think Grezzo or Nintendo, maybe both, already have it finished or close to finished, and they're just waiting for the right time, like they
Well,
did
yeah.
with what was it? I think they did the same with Majora's Mask 3D. They had it finished for a long time before they actually released it. And then in the interview that we always quote for A Link to the Past, whenever like Zelda 3 or whatever, like they had it completely finished, but then Dragon Quest was coming out and they didn't want to release two big games at the same time. So they let Dragon Quest get all of its customers, and then they released A Link to the Past. But while they were waiting to release the game, when it was already 100% finished, they did a bunch of changes to it. And then instead of 3 players, we ended up getting 1 player, and then a bunch of stuff was switched out. And then we got the A Link to the Past that we have now, just because they didn't want to release it at the same time as Dragon Quest. I think it was Dragon Quest. So I think it's a similar situation to where the game's already done, because literally all they would have to do is just port it over the same way they do all the other games. And I'm sure they have a program that can just like do it really easy by now, since they have so many 3DS and so many Wii U games that go to Switch, or so many 3DS games that go to the Wii U and whatever. So I'm sure they have a simple program that can do it. And then all of the high resolution textures and stuff would go well with it. They would just have to like remap the controls and like maybe better polygons and stuff like that. But all of the major
3DS
work would already
controls
be
are
done.
pretty much the exact same as the Switches, so...
Yeah, but I mean like the ones on the touchscreen. Like you had 1 and 2 as like permanent
But they need to
buttons, and
fix
Ocarina as
his
a permanent
walking,
button.
running animation. It looks
Yes.
weird.
And his jumping.
Big time.
Like the way the shadow moves, I'm just like, it's not. It's like he's already in the bunny shoes, the hover boots. Excuse me, I can't think.
Bunny shoes.
The bunny shoes.
Yeah.
Link wears bunny slippers, but the hover boots. That's what it looks like.
No, it's true. He's just got a weightlessness to him. It bothers me
I like that
so
you can
much.
equip the boots, but you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think it's already done though. Like I honestly do. I think it's already done. It's there waiting. They're just waiting for the right time to release it, to market it, and everything.
I mean, they know we'll buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll buy it.
Yep.
Well, I don't know about
Okay.
Daniel. He still doesn't have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah. Because they have.
Well, the thing is, I'm just not that into Mario Kart to begin with. That's
'Cause
the truth
they-
of it all.
they honestly
So-
they have like 5 or 6 completely different Zelda teams all working on different things. One of them has to be Ocarina of Time. So,
Birdman says, "What if Breath of the
Yep,
Wild 2
maybe.
comes out close
I
to
don't know.
Horizon 2?"
oh, Breath of the Wild 2 comes out close to Horizon 2.
Horizon 2.
Ooh.
Breath of the
Oh,
Wild
that'd
2.
be like
Super chatted
Horizon
us
Zero
there.
Dawn. That other
Oh.
game.
Oh, okay.
So
I've
that's
heard
what
of that.
happened
Yeah, they announced the sequel.
originally.
What?
Breath of the Wild came out a week after Horizon Zero Dawn. So it happened originally.
They happen. Yeah.
And Breath of the Wild won at Game Awards. So the same
Hopefully
thing
it
will
doesn't
happen.
again though, because those are two pretty big games.
Breath of the Wild 2 will come out, and they'll announce DLC at the exact same time they win the Game of the Year once again. And then once again, we'll have Patricia on the interview, and she's gonna be like, oh my god, I didn't know they were gonna show it off there. I was so excited it was there, and I was talking, and everyone was listening. So yeah, it's gonna be the same thing all over again. 2 years, no, next year, release next year. That's it.
I mean, if they do release it, Breath of the Wild 2 next year, then I'll actually have a reason to watch the Game Awards. So there is
Right?
that.
Right?
because they always show off new stuff at the Game Awards.
Yeah, I mean, this last year Game Awards, it was really
The only part I liked was the Muppet Labs, and I never even watched the Muppets growing up.
There you go.
But Untitled Beaker Game, it was hilarious.
A true testament to how bad the Game Awards
I am
were.
6'1", Aaron.
He's 6'1", but when you meet him, it feels like he's 6'10"
I slouch.
because of how big his heart is.
The best compliment I've ever received meeting someone was from Tubes, and it's on video. You can go watch
Oh.
it on the vlog
Oh,
on Daniel's
when we
channel.
saw you at the airport.
Yeah,
And
when I was first
the
starting
second
to
year of
lose
E3,
weight.
As soon as I saw you, I was like, oh my gosh, you're so skinny!
Right. I remember that. I didn't hear you say that at the time, but editing it, when I was editing that video, I was like, oh.
It's
And
funny
then-
because
Alright.
I was actually
Left
rewatching
it
that
in.
and I heard myself say it and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm such a jerk!
That's a
You don't comment on
thing.
people's weight ever!
I will say that was said to me when I returned to my college, and it actually made me feel good too.
I mean, it depends. Like, if you're actively working on it, then awesome. I know.
True,
Jesse
if
might
you
be,
did it
right?
like the right, if
Yeah,
you
I
did
mean,
it the right way,
it would've been
Because like
better if
5 people
Daniel said
approached
it.
me and were like, "Yeah, we were really concerned about you senior year." I'm like, "And you guys said nothing. You said
Aw.
nothing." And they were like, "Well, what were you supposed to do? Hey, we're concerned. You're fat."
Yeah, that's
That would
there's
be
no good way
horrible.
to do that.
No, they were like, well, actually, no, they were hesitant. I'm sure you know what I'm
Hmm.
talking about, Jesse. They were like, how are you doing? You look so good. And I'm like, yeah, I've been eating healthy. And then they were like, oh, okay. Because if it was from something bad, they'd be like, are you okay?
Hmm.
But they were like,
Yeah.
you look so good. And I was like, I've been eating healthy. And they're like,
Started-
okay.
I started doing
Just
this
so
thing
we're
called
good.
exercise and not drinking soda.
I actually didn't
and
exercise.
eating better.
Honestly, just changing the way you eat fixes so much.
I walked.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love
lot.
bread, but cutting out bread and chocolate,
I think I'm going to
Well,
gain weight now though,
was good.
because I let my older brother have my treadmill that I would walk on. So now I
Mm.
can't walk because it's 100 degrees outside. You guys
Yeah.
wouldn't know because
Yeah.
you live in Canada. So
Yeah, so we like the
okay,
Celsius.
fun fact, I used to legit call it Canada.
fun fact:
Oh no.
Canada's not
I
a
was
real
like
country.
6.
Now they're really coming out to play.
Fun
I was
fact:
like 6.
no,
Okay,
Canada is
that's
not a real
excusable.
country. It's all just a
How
part
dare
of
you.
Washington.
No,
Yeah,
Definitely
it's
not.
like
No.
it's northern Washington. All
that's
of
my
Canada.
country, dude.
It's just
no.
northern. No Canada, northern Washington.
No.
Yeah.
We're geography-wise, strictly geography, technically larger than the U.S.
Well,
Population-wise, not as much, but just.
It makes me
strict-
think of when people are like, Russia's huge. I'm like, yeah, but how much of it's habitable?
yeah,
Well, there's that.
If you look at Australia, like everyone lives on the coast, and then like 90% of it in the middle,
Desert.
no one lives there
Yeah,
because it's kangaroos.
kangaroos.
Koala
live there.
bears.
Like
is
in
my favorite
Oracle of Seasons, you can get in the pouch and hop around, and he boxes the kangaroo. Have you never played it? Oracle of
No.
Seasons.
No.
What?
You can play as a kangaroo,
No.
and he hops
You know I
around, and you can
haven't.
punch stuff. And
You know that's
Oracle-
the greatest thing ever in video game history is having boxing gloves.
Yeah,
But-
that's why Nintendo went to Capcom and was like, "Hey, you made Mega Man, now make a Zelda game, and give us a kangaroo with boxing gloves." And they
Okay,
did it.
This is the most
And they-
random meme, but someone sent me this meme and it was my favorite thing. So,
It was me.
you know how like if you compliment a girl's dress, sometimes the response is thanks, it has pockets.
Mm.
Huh?
It says, God, look what I made. And it shows a kangaroo. Angels. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. God, thanks, it has a pocket.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
That's brilliant.
You guys don't
I was a
understand
teenage girl.
the magic of pockets. I bought my first suit for me. It is a men's suit that I tailored for myself. And
Very nice.
the pockets go so low. I have
Oh,
so
yeah.
much pocket space.
Men's pockets are great. God,
But
I've
big
one
pockets
of
that I
my
can fit like my knuckle in there.
Yeah.
Right?
one of my my best jackets, like my winter coat, my wool coat. You can fit a bottle of wine in the jacket pocket.
I have a
It's
jean
br-
skirt with giant pockets. I can put my fat wallet in there. It's not fat because it has money. It's fat just because that's how it's made.
That's
Right.
the wrong kind.
And the struggle of trying to find a dress with pockets that doesn't add to the side weirdly.
Mm.
Because sometimes you're like, it has pockets, but it's got all this extra fat.
There's 60
fat.
people listening to us talking
Fabric,
about
so it
pockets.
just makes you look fat. So finding
no.
one that's like pockets you don't know are there, and then you get home and you're like, yes. But you can't put anything in them sometimes. If you put your phone in there, suddenly that side of the dress.
Yeah.
Story of my
Oh,
life. Well,
Gravity.
it's like my maid of honor dress. I tried it on and I was like, oh my gosh, it has pockets. And then I forgot about it because it had been so long. So when all of the bridesmaids and the bride met up to try on our stuff again, I put on my dress and I was standing there and it's like la 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 la, and I was like feeling the dress and I was like, oh my gosh, guys, I have pockets again still.
So the chat, Abigail says, if I found a sweater dress with pockets, I would never take it off.
Oh. Yeah, my jean skirt, my high waist, it's high waisted, it's button up. It has the only problem with this skirt is if I wear it with flats, church, I get mistaken for a postulate nun a lot. Y'all know what a postulate nun is?
Enough.
Like basically someone
Like,
who's
well
in
enough, yeah.
training to take orders to become a
Yeah.
nun.
Right,
So,
right.
and they tend to wear like jean long
Yeah.
skirts. It's that weird length where if I'm wearing like a top like this and it's tucked into, like I have to make sure I wear heels or that I'm wearing lots of jewelry or something. Because sometimes
Yeah.
I'll sit and some of like the sisters at my church will be like sitting near me and someone will be like, "Hi, when did you join?" I'm like, "What?"
Oh no.
I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not a nun."
Really like
I
this skirt.
considered it once, but it's just funny because
no.
I have that look too.
Yeah. Aw.
Oh
I
no.
was like, let me put on false lashes or something so you don't make me. That's not a bad thing to be mistaken as, but you know,
There's
it's
different-
just funny that
Worst
it's
thing
happened
to be
more than
mistaken.
once.
I mean, I've been mistaken for like a Target employee before, so like, not the
Taken
same.
for a Kohl's employee the other day. They were like, "Do you work here?" And I was wearing dance clothes and I was
Oh,
sweaty,
jeez.
and I was like,
I sure
No.
hope.
Oh no.
I mean, honestly, everyone's really nice at Kohl's. It's like the Chick-fil-A of retail.
Massimo says I feel bad for TG.
Honestly, again, of all the things that I could be mistaken for, I'm happy it's a nun.
Yeah, that's very fair. I
I'm
remember
okay with that.
a really long time ago, I had gone to church on Mother's Day, which was my biggest mistake because right away everyone was like, "Oh, Happy Mother's Day! Here, this candy's for mothers," and I'm like, "Guys, I'm 18. Please stop
Oh,
assuming
what?
that I'm a mom."
What?
Yep, it was very uncomfortable.
Oh no.
Oh, we got
See,
a-
I get mistaken for a 12-year-old, so.
we have a question from Dragon
yes.
King.
Oh,
So when does Nintendo come out with the next Switch? What do you all think Nintendo will do?
I think we still have a good solid few years before another console generation.
What about a
comes
half-gen?
to be.
So you think PS5, Xbox Series X is going to come out and Nintendo's not going to do anything?
Switch sales are off, like record breaking right now. Like they're
Because everyone's
shattering
stuck
records
at home though.
constantly. They're going into stock and being sold out immediately everywhere. Nintendo is doing. I don't think they're worried about competing with Sony and Xbox right now. at all.
Yeah, but
No.
remember that
They're-
the normal 3DS was selling like that as well. And they were like, no, it's selling so well. It's so perfect. Why would we make another version? We wouldn't do that.
True.
And then a month later, they come out with the XL. You remember
I mean,
them saying that.
That's not true.
Miyamoto.
Like people
literally.
will buy any like Switch re-release. Like the like new Switch
And they
version
got the
that
Switch
came out,
Lite, yes.
that was like literally just repackaged, and I think the screen brightness was different or something.
It had
Oh,
the
it had
better
better
CPU.
better battery life. That's
Better
what it was.
battery
Yeah.
life.
$5
But none of the
for
rest of the
Hylian
system
Luke.
specs were different, and people scooped those up.
Jesse, and the Gamecast crew.
Gluke.
He got
I
the,
glove you, Gluke.
He got the nickname
Love.
Gluke streaming on our channel.
oh yeah.
Good going, Gluke.
Is that
At
John
least one of
G?
the Switch updates had the Animal Crossing look, so
True.
Best.
it's just still just the pastel Joy-Cons. That's like my
They're
favorite part.
beautiful.
I think we will get a
I love
Switch
those Joy-Cons.
upgrade of some kind, and like the
well, because
next.
I know they had been talking about like there'd been
6
like
months.
rumors of them doing like a pro
Switch
version
Pro,
or
yeah.
something.
It was Reggie again. It was Reggie. He always does that. Do you remember the
does.
the interview, Daniel?
Which
I
one?
don't know why I was talking like that. In the interview, we made a video of it where Reggie was like, "We're focused on the current Switch model right now,"
Oh, right.
and it's like,
Well, and then
what-
Switch
what do
Lite
you-
came out.
Yeah.
Suddenly he could have been referring to that.
Yeah, but that was like 3 or 4 months before it was announced, and we were like the only, no one noticed. Everyone was like, Nintendo confirms no Switch model, and Daniel and I were like, do you see what he said? He said current Switch model that doesn't mean there's only one. That means there's another he's not telling us about.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Reggie.
but
Reggie
it's
Because he
this.
probably can't tell.
yeah, but that's the thing. Everyone was like just taking it like Nintendo confirms no second Switch model, and Daniel and I were like, no, he said current.
You have
There's
to
no-
read between the lines of
Yes.
1, lawyer talk, and 2, NDAs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like when I'm talking to some. Never mind.
Oh no.
My Twitter inbox has a bunch of NDA stuff in it that shouldn't. I was gonna be
What?
like, I was gonna use an example, like when I was talking to blah blah blah, and they said, "Hey, blah blah blah," but don't tell
That's a
anyone.
great
Oh,
example.
no.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like I've learned so much.
Yeah,
Seriously, one of the highlights of my career was when I had to sign an NDA. I still don't know if that game ever came out. It was a Australian children educational video game. I played an alien. I think it came out like a year ago, but they never told me.
nice.
Oh no.
My
Just
entire
all I know
career
is-
at
Wait, did
Nintendo was
this come out?
NDA. That's why
Yeah.
I didn't talk about them until I stopped working there.
Fair.
Yeah. It was kind of
Yeah.
cool though, being like, I know a thing. I literally know no one who's gonna play this game ever or will have ever heard of it. But I signed an NDA, guys.
I have a secret.
I played an alien who said things about numbers. It was specifically math.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
And they were only
Oh,
supposed to pay
no.
me $50, and the dude was like, "Hey, this is really good. I'm gonna double your pay." And I was like,
Oh.
I'm
Hey, if
not
my
gonna
work wants
say
to
no.
double my pay.
Jeez.
But yeah, no, I mean they could very well announce new Switch hardware at any
Yeah.
point, and I don't know if I'd be surprised, but at the same time I'm not like exactly holding my breath for it either, because I feel like Nintendo is doing very well with the Switch as it is right now. And also I know that they're having production issues keeping up with stock. So
Yeah.
releasing new hardware when they're already having trouble keeping stock up with their existing hardware might not be feasible. Just production wise.
Luke
"I didn't hear the word
current
feasible.
moment.
I heard the word feasible.
Luke says.
It's
It
just
might not be feasible."
I'm
So-
gonna just start saying that from now on.
So Luke
See,
says.
but when I hear the name Reggie, I think of the Pokemon like Regigigas and everything. I don't know why.
Oh, Reggie Rock.
Gluck says, Jesse, have you discussed that new Zelda mod, The Missing Link? It's super good. I don't know if it was that one or the other one, but I had one of the people who made the mod do a live stream of him playing it on this channel. So we have that. Yeah, it's one of the new mods that came out. It was
Was it
Melons.
Masters of Time or?
Was it Melons? I don't know.
Oh,
It was, but he
I don't
made
think
it.
that was one that Melon did.
But anyway, it came
The
out
one
like
Luke's talking about
there was like
is-
2 or 3 that all came out at the same time. But this one, the guy that made it,
Mhm.
he was like, "Hey, can you show this off?" And I was like, "Hey, like why don't you just do the stream? Like you know the game, not me. You play it." So he did a stream like the creator playing the game on my channel. So I was like, that's good enough. Like that's better than me asking him questions. That way he can actually talk about how he made it while he's playing it.
Fair.
So we do have that video. You might have to look for it because since it was a live stream, it probably didn't get sent out to everyone like an uploaded video does.
Mm.
So, but that video is on there. It's really cool. If you want to go
I
watch
did
it.
see footage of The Missing Link. I think it was like HMK's or someone, and I was like, "This is a pretty interesting story."
Gluck streamed
Interesting.
it. Actually,
Jubes.
that's how I
That's
learned
right.
about it.
All right.
Just very hungry.
So, final question, everyone, to end the Hylian Gamescast episode. And
that episode.
yeah. So the next good question ends the podcast, and you win a prize, which is us ending the stream. That's the prize.
That's the prize.
Us
Oh.
ending the stream. Dude, I just bought Animal Crossing version 2 days ago, so I hope they won't release Switch 2 anytime soon.
I feel
Glad
that.
you're able to get a hold of
Who's
it.
ready to petition for Switch U?
Nope.
No.
I've played it a few times. That's not Gluck's voice.
That's exactly
That's-
how Gluck sounds.
Exactly. Verbatim.
100%.
100%.
We
like
did a
that.
collab video. That's how he says it.
That's it. What is the last question, Jesse?
What comes after Breath of the Wild 2? DLC for
That's the question. What comes after Breath of the Wild 2?
DLC for what's the game? Cadence of
For Breath of the
Hyrule.
Wild 2.
Yeah, more DLC for
More?
that. Yeah.
More? Another one?
After Breath of the Wild 2, there'll be crossover DLC adding certain elements to Cadence of Hyrule.
Free Mario Kart 8 Deluxe update with new skin for Link.
Similar to how
Add double dash feature, or
Breath
just
of-
create Mario Kart 9 and make it double dash.
Breath of the Wild
Double
had
dash!
Breath of the Wild had free DLC from Xenoblade because Monolith
Right.
Soft helped make Breath of the Wild, so I think something similar will happen with Breath of the Wild too, but in reverse. Like another game will get Breath of the Wild 2 stuff. Like how Breath of the Wild Link came to Smash Bros. And Mario Kart. I think something similar will happen with Breath of the Wild 2, to where that link will go to the game. So like Cadence of Hyrule might get Breath of the Wild 2 update. That's what I think will come after Breath of the Wild 2. I don't think it'll be a big major game. I think it'll be like small DLC to help promote Breath of the Wild 2. But yeah. But what about you guys? What do you guys think will come after Breath of the Wild 2? Do you think it'll be a remake?
Another Zelda game.
Will it be 2D?
Okay.
That's what I was
3D?
gonna say. Another Zelda game.
Will it be 2D? 3D? 4D?
Maybe like a top-down.
Yeah.
Zelda
Something.
VR.
That
First
paper-
person shooter.
Oh no.
You see
All
the
of
sword
Zelda.
slap.
Maybe that
I was gonna
Monolith
say, except
Soft.
when you shoot, you're like charging up, and then you do the Skyward Strike.
Will
Oh,
Zelda
no.
be playable? I think 100% Zelda will be playable in Breath of the Wild too. Like when I would cut my hand off. No,
What?
I would
What?
get a paper cut on my hand if Zelda's not
I-
playable. I wouldn't
I
go as
don't
far as
think
cutting
she
my
will.
hand off, but I would let someone give me a
Yeah,
paper
please don't
cut.
do that.
If
I'm gonna
I
say
think
she's
Zelda
not,
will be
though.
playable. But
I
knowing my
thought I
luck,
was thinking for a while, but
knowing my luck, I would make that deal to where I would get my hand cut off if Zelda's not playable, but then she would be added in as DLC after I got my hand cut off. Like it would be 2 months. It would be 2 months later.
and you'd have a hook hand.
Yeah,
And you'd be trying to play your Switch with your hook hand, and
exactly.
you'd be like, would it be your right or left hand?
Then left.
Your left?
'Cause
Oh,
you
so
can
that's
play
the thumbstick.
buttons.
So you have to use use your hook hand like this.
It's better
fine.
than like tapping a jump. How are you gonna do a jump attack? You can't do that with the hook hand.
I don't. Maybe. I don't know.
You can't do the, like Z button
But
target.
anyways, I don't think she will be actually. I just think that
You don't
maybe the
really-
team will like start thinking
you don't
about it,
think
and then
Zelda will be
Miyamoto's gonna walk
playable?
into the room and be like,
You don't
nope.
think-
And then
You don't think Zelda
I
will
don't.
be playable at all? At all? Not even like Spirit Tracks
Nope.
or Phantom Hourglass or whatever. Not even like Majora's Mask where you
I don't
play
think so.
as that one dude, purple dude.
Cafe?
I like again. This is not necessarily what I want to
Or
happen.
or Wind
but
Waker
I
when
don't
you switch.
believe it. I don't
you,
think
you
that it will.
switch to
Prediction-wise.
the Korok in Wind Waker.
Right.
Like
It'd
you
be
don't think a
cool.
situation
I'd be
like
down.
that will happen.
Don't get me wrong. I'd like it if that happened.
Zelda's not going to
But I don't
squat
think
down
it's going
and
to.
you have to pick her up and carry her like Princess Ruto.
No.
I hate
That's-
escort missions.
I saw. Speaking. Okay, hold on. Side note: Princess Ruto. I can't remember what it was. I was looking through comments on some video on YouTube, and someone talked. Oh, Geek! It was your video.
Yes, it was.
Someone talked about how they hated Mifa because of what happened, what having to carry her around in Jabu Jabu's belly and Ocarina of Time, and I'm like, that is not.
Someone
Mifa.
commented and they were like, that's not the same thing. And they're
That's
like, yeah,
not-
well, it's still an annoying Zora who has a crush on Link. And I'm like, there's a massive
Completely.
difference between Ruto and Mifa.
Yeah. Completely not the same character. Just
Amazing.
I don't think this person has played many games.
I had someone in my chat the other day. I don't know if they were trolling or serious, but they were. They made an exception for like 2 games, but they were the it's all the same story retold.
Oh,
Yeah. And I was like, Twilight Princess literally has Hero of Time in it. He goes, that might be an exception. And I'm like,
If they're all exceptions, then your argument starts falling apart. The more concessions you have to make, the weaker your argument
There's
becomes.
I'm preaching to the choir here.
Oh yeah, totally. The
But I was
biggest
just
point
like-
is just like
Every link is the son of the previous.
aside from it, from people just like being like they
you know
obviously
that?
just don't want to think too hard about it, and that's fine. The
Right.
biggest argument against the literal legend theory is the fact that Nintendo, every time they come out with a game, someone interviews them, some magazine interviews them, and they're like, "Where does this game take place in the Zelda timeline?" And then they give an answer.
Except Breath of the Wild.
Except
No,
Breath of the
even
Wild.
Breath of the Wild. They're like,
Even Breath of the Wild, all
At
they
the
said is
end.
it's after Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
That was the interview
they,
after.
they
were
even
like,
said it has nothing to do with Wind Waker. I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's after
it's
Ocarina
like-
of Time. It has nothing
Zelda-
to do with Wind Waker. We just used Koroks because it was easy.
So if you
Yeah.
just trace all these interviews with Miyamoto, Aonuma, etc., basically it's like the Zelda game, sequel, prequel, prequel to the prequel, or no, Zelda game, sequel, prequel, sequel to the prequel, prequel, sequel to the prequel to the prequel, sequel,
No.
different sequel, because
It was
timeline
prequel
split.
to the prequel.
Prequel.
You got,
like,
you got the fourth one wrong.
Yeah.
which one?
Ocarina of Time goes before A Link to the Past. You said
Link's Awakening
y-
is the sequel to the prequel.
yeah,
Link's
but
Awakening is a
you,
sequel to A Link
you,
to
you
Link's
went
the Past.
You went
So
prequel,
Zelda 1 is-
sequel, prequel to
sequel
the
is Zelda
prequel,
2,
sequel to the
prequel is A Link to the Past. Sequel
Okay.
to the prequel is Link's Awakening. Prequel to the prequel is Ocarina of Time.
Oh, okay. So
And-
you included Link's
There-
Away. Okay.
Link's
I'm
Awakening.
thinking
I included Link's
flashbacks to
Awakening.
when Daniel was trying to tell me how to get to the first dungeon in the first Zelda game.
My point is, they every time a game has come out, they've been like, some interviewer at some magazine has said, "Where does this game take place?" And they're like, "It's at this point." Like they always say it. Oh, this is a prequel.
Yeah.
What
This is
would
a
you
sequel
have
to this game.
done if you were at the Nintendo World Championships that year where they had Zelda 1? They had the race where you had to beat the first boss.
I'd have lost.
Do you remember that?
I've
Did
lost.
you- did you
I
watch
know
that
that
one?
game well, and I know that game well, but I'm not good at it.
No, did you watch that the race that they did for the World
No.
Championships?
Oh.
A lot of people use the cheat to where like when you go in, the first door is locked that you have to go through on the right. So you have to go to the left and beat all
Mhm.
the enemies to get the key so you can go to
Yeah.
the door on the right. But if you just go in the dungeon and then exit the dungeon and go back in the dungeon, the door is automatically unlocked.
Really?
Yeah. So like if you just go in and out and then back in, it glitches so you can just go
What?
through the door without the key.
I had no
So
idea about that.
there was a lot of people that was doing that, and then there was a lot of people that was trying to beat all the monsters in the one room, and I'm like, yeah, they're not gonna win. Even like they're the one that they're respectfully doing it the correct
Yeah.
way, but the cheaters are going to win. It was making
I
me
almost feel like
mad.
that shouldn't be allowed.
It was
you're
legit-
exploiting a glitch to do it.
It was legit
Unless they
making me
specifically
upset.
make yeah, that's upsetting. But
Either way,
not
during
big-
that stream, I was like, I can't remember who it is. It's either on Daniel's channel or Jesse's channel, but there's a video that clearly explains it. I was like, I don't know. I remember thinking, I don't know what's worse, this person or the flat earther. I had a flat earther
Oh.
once. Pretty
Ga-
sure that was a troll because flat earthers are super, super minor.
Yeah, Gavin Miller says, how likely do you think Breath of the Wild 3 is? If Breath of the Wild 2 sells as much or more than Breath of the Wild does, then they'll make a Breath of the Wild 3. They'll do it just because they know the name will sell a lot. But if it
Maybe.
makes like half as much as Breath of the Wild, then we'll get a new name.
I do like the trilogy concept.
Yeah, like
I just don't know what it would be.
like if it
How much
sells
can they stretch out in 3 games in that one world, though? You know, I feel if they did a
That'd be
Breath of the Wild
difficult.
3, it's gotta be somewhere else. New map, new
Yeah.
worlds.
I
Like
like the idea of it doing what the Oracle games could not.
Having like a trilogy that all connects.
Yeah, because they couldn't use Farore's character, right? That was the one they cut out.
Mhm.
They did Nehru and Din.
Mm-hmm.
Those originally started as a remake of the original Zelda game.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I forget which one, but the map is layered almost identical to the original Zelda game.
Yep. I know there's a lot of similarities in the dungeons and dungeon bosses.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds me, one of the things in the leaks that I forgot to mention is that
How much useless
version-
facts do we have in our head, Daniel?
so many in the
Like,
gig
no one
that we're talking about at
cares.
the beginning.
We say all this stuff and no one cares.
People find it interesting. Maybe I would if I was them watching. Okay, in the
Hey, I found it
Gigaleaks,
interesting when I started watching.
Link's Awakening's source code, there is apparently a fully mapped version of A Link to the Past map created in Game Boy Link's Awakening's assets for what presumably was that they were testing things out or trying to recreate A Link to the Past in Link's Awakening before changing the map and making Koholint Island. But in those leaks, they found A Link to the Past map created
Yeah, they were
in
trying
Link's
to
Awakening
remake
source
it.
code in Link's Awakening's assets. And that's cool.
It's because they were trying to remake it.
Weird 8-bit Game Boy monochromatic A Link to the Past map. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
And they also remade a 16-bit original NES Zelda.
Are you talking about the BS Zelda games?
Yeah.
Which stands for Broadcast
Yes.
Satellite.
Which always makes me think of The Incredibles when the cutscene of Syndrome, and he's like, "What's the S stand for?" Sitter. I couldn't do babysitter for obvious reasons.
There you go. That's a good joke. One that might go over the kids' heads. But
I love those jokes where like,
So good.
especially because it makes the movie enjoyable again as an adult, not just for nostalgia, but you go back and you're like,
you're like, what? They said that?
so many Disney and Pixar films that I went back as an
Oh, yeah.
adult and I was like, especially Shrek, DreamWorks.
Oh, yeah. Shrek
They're
is
remaking Shrek.
full of them. In,
No, they should have
Are
stopped
they
after the
remaking
second
it?
movie.
in
Yeah.
8-bit monochromatic Link's Awakening.
No, they're remaking it with all of the same characters, but it's going to be like new
8-bit.
graphics or whatever,
But why?
Why?
just to make it look better. Same story, same
No,
characters,
it already
just
To
make,
make
it look
money.
Don't remake it.
Better. Yeah,
Just-
Yeah,
that
the whole
seems
point was
just
Shrek had
hugely
good
unnecessary.
graphics for the time.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing now.
Sorry.
Same story, same character, like it's same voice actors, everything.
No.
Are they re-recording it? Like
Yes.
re-recording the voices? Or are they just redoing
Money.
the animations?
Money.
Yeah, same voice actors, re-recording, slightly changing
And
the
Michael
story to
Whatever
update
his name
it.
is, already recorded Shrek twice. He recorded it once with no accent, like with a basic American accent, and they realized it sounded terrible, so then they used his regular accent. And the animators had to redo all of the lip flaps because your mouth moves different when you have an accent. So
I love lip flaps.
Weird.
I love lip
The
flaps.
word lip flaps just always sounds weird on its own. But that's
All right, so
Some words I hate the sound of.
Choobs, you've been quiet.
Hello.
Give us something to go out on. What is your question? Think of any question. We will answer. It'll be
Take
it'll
a
be the
question from the mailbag.
it's up to you. No pressure. No pressure. No pressure.
You've been quiet. Pick a question.
Yeah,
No
the world's
pressure.
not going to end. It's okay.
it's not. It might.
No one's watching.
It-
Just
I'm
pick
watching.
one.
Fine.
Me and 50 other people are watching.
It's okay, Choobs. You don't have to worry about your eyelashes. They look fine.
I'm trying to think of a really ridiculous question right now.
Why?
And the only one that I've come up with is too ridiculous. So we're gonna end this on a mailbag question.
Yeah, let's do that.
Type it in chat, our private chat, because now I'm curious.
Do
Well,
it.
I can't see the private chat. I got you
Do
guys.
it.
I can't see it.
So, Gus Calvo asks, he is a Patreon supporter, and that's why I'm asking this question. What is
Great.
the most powerful artifact in the franchise, and what is Daniel's favorite poutine?
Ooh, two-part question. Wait, are we? I mean, it's the Triforce, right? Like,
I'm
Right.
assuming the answer is Triforce.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, are we saying other than the Triforce, like, or
Like,
because it's got to be that?
Yeah.
it's the Triforce. It is
Yeah.
the most powerful.
Okay, we are in agreement.
There's no contest.
I say.
Daniel,
I
Your
say.
favorite kind of poutine. Lego.
Oh, it's
No.
It's
So
just,
so the Triforce
Oh.
only works if you're pure of heart.
okay, but even if your heart is not
balanced, you
We're talking
still
about
get
in the
one
entire
piece of the
franchise.
Triforce, and that's still
No, you don't get it.
incredibly powerful.
Like someone bad could touch it,
Yeah.
but like if they don't represent the Triforce, then it'll just shoot off to the person that it does represent. Like if you
No,
touched
it,
it,
Still
what'll
the most
happen?
powerful.
What'll happen is if your heart is imbalanced, you will keep the piece of the Triforce that most aligns with your personal values,
yeah, but like
and the other
you do
two
all
pieces
that
will
evil
go off
stuff.
to whoever best represents
The
those two.
hashtag blame Daniel, you would get
But-
none.
The
They
I
would
mean,
be
just
like-
just as
no,
far as
they-
sheer
they
power
would be like-
goes, we're not talking about utility
No, they-
because
they-
not everyone
they-
can use every artifact. Just sheer power
No,
alone.
they
is
would
the
be like,
Triforce,
this is
the
a
answer.
holy Triforce.
Just
Daniel
here's the
is
point with Daniel.
disgusting. He can't have any of this. Like you would get the blank piece
Even
in
if
the
you
middle.
only got the one piece, that's
no,
still
you would
immensely
get
powerful.
you would get
That's-
the blank piece in the middle where there's nothing there.
Why?
You would get the empty space.
My fries are cold because of
Right. My favorite kind of poutine is honestly just very simple, classic poutine. Like,
What if
not-
Breath
I
of the
don't like
Wild 2 could make
all the
poutine?
frills. I like people like to put like tons of extra stuff on their poutine, and no, I just
What
I just like
Hylian
it nice
items?
and simple.
What Hylian
nice,
items in
crispy
Breath of the
fries,
Wild 2 would
cheese
you make
curds,
poutine with?
Gravy. It's
Okay, Daniel, listen,
talking
Daniel,
about-
Daniel, listen.
very serious.
This is important.
Jesse,
Your
Jesse.
life is on the line. Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Okay, go outside. You'll see an old man. He wants to give you a sweater, but you gotta cook him a meal first. He wants poutine.
Okay. Yeah.
What Hylian foods are you gonna get to make his poutine? So you can get the
Well-
sweater so you don't freeze.
There's no potatoes in Breath of the Wild.
Hardy turnip. Let go.
Am I gonna make
Sorry,
fucking
radish.
French
What?
fries out of radishes? Is that... what kind of
Isn't there a
monster
Do you
are
need
they
French fries
for?
for
They're both
poutine?
root vegetables, but they're not the same.
Potatoes.
Wait,
You
is
need
it called
potatoes.
poutine because it's
Mash 'em,
potatoes?
stick 'em in a stew.
I don't know why it's called poutine. It just is.
Because
I know
potatoes?
there's a story.
Is that why?
What?
Why do you eat
No.
it if you don't understand it?
Because I understand one thing about it, and that is warm and makes me happy.
Yes.
It's a hot meal that fills
You
me
can
up.
ask that same question about
Maybe
fast
you're
food.
happy in your side of the relationship,
Everyone
but you
shut
don't
up.
care about the poutine's side of the relationship.
Everyone, shut up. I did a quick Google. The word poutine is commonly believed to have originated from the English word pudding, or as it were in French, pudding.
There you go.
Used to
She said it.
describe a
Potatoes.
mixture typically messy of various foods. In Quebec, the term poutine is slang for mess.
Because it's messy food. It is messy food.
So you
It
heard
is not
Chub.
poutine,
You heard Chub's.
It's not clean food. It's not
Poutine. Poutine means potatoes. You heard her.
Nope, it's messy food. And you know what? That's
How does your hair always
That's
look so
legit.
great?
Technically speaking, shepherd's
That's it.
pie is a poutine.
Have you seen Daniel in a vest?
What?
what?
Oh my gosh, we both quoted the potato thing at the same time, geek.
Yeah, he was like, I was like, I said potatoes.
Have you guys
Potatoes.
ever seen Daniel in a vest?
like
No, a
only
cardigan.
vest?
A cardigan. Yeah. Have you seen Daniel in a cardigan?
Yes, we all have.
Yes.
Who hasn't? Anyone who watches these videos. I
Yeah.
like a good cardigan. It's been too hot recently though.
It needs to be
summer.
You
the.
don't know the definition of hot.
I mean,
It needs to be the. If we ever have like a poster model, it would be Daniel in a poutine.
It'll be Daniel in a poutine.
all right.
I thought he'd have to be in a
Sounds
banana
terrible.
costume. I
In
thought
a-
that
in
was
a
the
cardigan.
joke.
Yes.
I can arrange a banana costume. You want me to get it?
Wait,
The
who bought it?
banana. Miss Click has one.
Yeah, and Maya.
BRB.
They
If we're
both-
apparently still going, someone's knocking on my.
No, we can go.
Okay.
We're just
We can go.
we're
Okay.
not even talking. I don't
It's
know
almost.
what we're doing.
It's 8:45.
Like,
I mean,
Yeah, it's
fries
almost
now,
midnight.
so-
yeah, there's 44 people. It's just
I was trying-
it's just
I was trying to make
44
a story
accounts
about
of
this.
Luke's. Ow. Did Daniel already go?
I think he went to grab the door so he could answer Miyamoto.
Oh yeah, right.
The
Comes
Nintendo
to his door a
ninjas are
lot.
after him.
So how you guys doing?
All right,
Pretty
everyone,
good.
welcome to the 𝐓𝐿𝐼 ASMR stream.
Yeah. I stalked
just
Daniel
kidding.
on Facebook. Oh, nice. Good
That's
look.
creepy.
Jesse says the most random things. Cool.
Who's stalking me
it's
on
true.
Facebook?
Nobody.
Oh,
Hi.
Luke.
Luke
Mine-
is stalking you.
Yeah, that's
Don't
fair.
tell him.
That's fair.
He doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
You don't have the power of the Triforce. I'd probably get a PS5 if I had the money. Pizza is messy food. Laugh out loud. They're all me. All 44
I
accounts
eat pizza with a fork and knife. I'm
Do
one
you?
Of those. I also dab it with paper towels, so
That's
it
why
doesn't
we've
have as
never
much
invited
grease.
you to LA.
What?
I would literally be a pain to be with in real life, especially because I eat keto. Everywhere you'd go, I'd be that person that's like, "Can I get chicken fingers?" and then I'd peel off the breading.
Okay.
I'm vegetarian.
He's
Hello.
Or would we
vegetarian.
rather have
Also, actually, my
I feel
brother's
like
kid
that's
Jesse's-
not
easy
that
to
bad.
accommodate.
a
It
Jesse
is really
stuffed
not.
Giga banana.
When you go to
Is
a
it?
convention, it's like basically Daniel's choice of eating is pizza and more pizza.
Yeah, there's
Um,
like not. They're like, oh, you got cheese pizza. And I'm like, okay, I like variety of food, but there is none here. It's so sad.
They should at least
So,
have
yeah.
a fruit platter.
But no, my brother's keto. It's not that bad. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's easy to accommodate. It's the opposite of my diet. But like,
At least don't
There
order the
are
everything else.
vegetarians that
Think
eat keto, though.
of-
There is a
that'd be
vegetarian
complicated.
version. Apparently, your
awesome.
body eventually figures out how to get protein from the veggies.
Weird.
So it's like being a vegetarian. I don't know how they do it because I just like meat too much.
beans,
It's expensive though.
beans and
Well,
lentils.
you can't
There's
have a
lots
lot of
good-
beans though on keto.
on
Save
keto. Okay,
carbs.
no, good point. Good point. Good point.
But you have to be careful with the meat because if you just get regular store meat, it's like that stuff that they stuffed with corn and they didn't treat the animal right. I'm like, if I'm gonna eat it, at least treat it right before you kill it.
Abigail
Hey, preach.
says a stuffed Yiga. Me stuffed in a Yiga banana. I think Daniel would be the one in the banana suit, though.
That's
you
one of
got
my
there's that
favorite.
great photo. Of
That's one of my
E3 last
favorite
year.
animations in all of Breath of the Wild is when you're in the Yiga hideout and you throw in the bananas, one of those big bulky ones. They're
Oh,
like,
no.
yay!
Whoop, whoop,
It's like one of my
whoop,
favorite
yeah.
animations.
Oh, it's great. There's that great photo from E3 last year where we found the giant banana man.
After
Kayla
I
and I-
left.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Love that photo.
that was a good one. There's
I-
a lot of good banana photos from E3 actually.
I was so determined that if I had been able to do E3 this year, when it was a thing,
Yeah.
I was so
Before the
determined,
world
guys.
ended.
I'm not kidding. I had a Zelda song in my head, one of those like made up fan ones that's really bad. I was like, I'm gonna teach them a really bad dance. We're gonna record it, and it's gonna happen.
We
I
did
got
a
Just Dance because I wanted them to play it on stream.
We
but
did a
never got around
pose.
to it.
on
I'm
the
terrible
first
at Just
E3.
Dance. The timing is always off.
We did a Dragon
There's
Ball
this-
Z pose at the
this
first
photo.
E3.
Good photo.
this is a photo Cliff took of me at E3 last. And that's
The weird thing
it's
is
one of my favorite photos.
the first live podcast when we first got to the place, there was bananas on the table, and that started the joke.
I put the bananas there. There was a
That's
fake
true.
plant there.
The
And I went-
banana.
This is a dumb fake plant, so I swapped it out for a bunch of bananas that we bought.
Perfect.
And then everything went downhill from there.
Do y'all know the
Oh, dear.
song? It's really old. The one that's like it goes like Link has come through town. Come to
Oh,
save.
yeah.
That was the one I was gonna choreograph to.
Yes.
I had started choreographing. I was like, I'm gonna
Oh.
do this, and I'm gonna make them embarrass themselves.
Amazing.
I only knew that song because there was a game, like it was a Flash game, but it was like Dance Dance Revolution to that song. So I played it so much.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now we have
Question
to do
is,
that.
how many left feet do y'all have?
3.
I can grow an extra one.
Both my feet and one hand are.
All right, Daniel,
And it's my right hand.
That'll make it funnier.
let
I
us know
can't
where
be
you're
in the
from.
video.
how can we find you, Daniel?
How can you
Oh, yeah.
find me? Get on a plane, fly to YVR Vancouver,
Whoa.
and no wait. You're to meet on the internet. Okay, hold on. On the internet, you can find me in all the manners of social media. Instagram, Twitter, most importantly, YouTube and Twitch, at Capt Burgerson, CAPTBURGERSON, as in, this captain is a burger that burger had a child.
Give me
and I
5.
am his son. That's me.
No, it's down.
Oh, there, I did it. There we go. That's me. You can find me. I stream 2 times at least a week, Tuesday and Wednesday on Twitch, and then also usually Mondays and Friday nights. That's kind of a newer thing though. Been doing the DLC for Mario Rabbids recently, also some Hollow Knight, though that's what I've been up to, and also I make the occasional video, including videos, one recently that Geek was in, and one recently that Jesse was in. And I don't know, Kayla, we should get around to something.
Daniel hates me.
Geek,
But
give me 5.
He doesn't like my mouth sounds.
the mouth sounds. I'm here for the mouth sounds.
Give me 5, Geek.
Anyways, that's me. That's me. Someone else go now.
Geek.
Oh,
have to high
wait,
five.
which way do I have to go?
Give me
I have to go
5.
towards my
Your-
closet.
Your hand's so much smaller than mine.
It is though. I
Let me
have
move mine
really long
back.
fingers. Like that was the first thing the doctors commented on when
When
I
you were
exited
born.
my mother. They were like, "Geez, this girl has long fingers."
Yeah.
Better than them saying you have short fingers. They're like,
They're
why?
like, she's gonna be a
geez,
piano
why you got
player.
these?"
All right. So, long finger girl, let us know where we can find more of you.
I am the Geek Apprentice. As asked many times, no, I will never be a geek master. But you can find me and the geekdom, as we call it, on my YouTube channel, The Geek Apprentice. We recently passed 5,000 subs. Yay! And my most recent
5,000.
video has the entire Hylian Gamescast on it. It was a really long video, but I'm really happy with it, and it turned out great, and
It's
I
a
love
hot
it.
beat.
It's good. It's a good one.
It's a good one, especially if you don't appreciate Breath of the Wild's music the way you should.
I'm biased.
And if you do appreciate it, you should watch it. That's the point. I'm also on Instagram. I sometimes post there. I have a Twitter, but I hate Twitter. So it's usually just, look, I made a video, share it please. It's very selfish reasoning that I have a Twitter.
Me too.
Yeah. It's mainly YouTube. I have Twitch, but I don't stream on there
No, I
anymore.
have to organize too with people. That's why. And I stalk Daniel.
All right.
Anything else? Geek.
I don't think so. Yeah. I talk about more than Zelda. If Zelda, hold on, there's a list. Zelda, Disney, and almost everything under Disney except Star Wars.
Wait, the
'cause I just
dragons
don't
thing?
care. How to Train Your Dragon, yes.
Isn't there
Harry
a new
Potter.
Netflix thing with like wizards
Hunger
or something?
Games.
That's
No?
connected to the dragons? There's a spin-off on Netflix.
There's a preschool thing, and it's an abomination and doesn't count.
What?
There's a
Oh,
spin-off.
wait, is that the
to
what
her
is it? The
dragons
rescue
Rescue Riders.
one? The rescue show?
It's not canon.
That's the one.
It's not canon.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's not even the same dragons.
Deal.
But Dragons
it's,
Race to the Edge
it's
is
the
very good.
CDI.
But I talk about Harry Potter too. Hold on. I just got my Luna
She's
cosplay
a fake
dress.
Harry Potter
I was
So-
gonna say,
fan.
she was moving to show us something Harry Potter related when she's leaning on a Harry Potter pillow.
Yeah.
There you go.
You might have missed it
Because
earlier,
I am
but
Luna.
I called her a Slytherin like an hour ago, and she didn't correct
did?
me. Yeah,
That's
I called
false.
you Slytherin.
I'm not.
You did not
I don't
correct
remember
me.
you telling me that.
Yeah, it's there. There's proof. Like-
Well, I'm Ravenclaw, just in case anyone's wondering.
We
There's
are
a banner behind
recording.
me.
I don't know if I should say what Pottermore said my house is.
Don't, because I still haven't done the video.
Yeah, that's why. I was like, I wasn't sure. 'Cause
I
you were
literally
talking
have
about doing
written it
that.
down. Literally, I wrote a script so long ago. And I think all three of you, I said, this isn't a spoiler, but like, I think all three of you, for the Hogwarts houses, not even the Ilvermorny, I was like, well, I could see so-and-so as blah, blah, blah because of A, B, and C. But I also really see them as this because of A, B. I basically vouched for all 4 houses for all of you.
Oh, wow.
And every time, like, sometimes I go for the obvious choice. I'm like, oh yeah, this person, they're definitely this. I'm like, oh, but is that too obvious? Am I not looking deep enough? Maybe I just don't know them well enough.
How deep do
It's actually
you look?
probably this.
How
You
deep?
were like the
how
sorting
deep do you
hat when
look
it went
into
on
me?
Harry's head.
I feel like other than Harry himself, I feel like the Sorting Hat just goes with the obvious choices anyway. So
Neville
this is like,
and
okay.
Hermione.
And
He did
Oh,
go with
that's
the
fair.
And Ron,
All
he
right.
didn't go with the obvious.
All right.
I feel like
Ron,
it
he
wouldn't
definitely
even
did do it
touch.
the obvious choice.
I feel like it wouldn't even touch Daniel's head. It would just be like barely
be
tap
like,
a hair.
Get
and
out of
it-
the school! Oh,
No,
man!
no, it'd be Hufflepuff.
You're
They,
expelled!
they
It
were
would
like,
be
if you weren't
Hufflepuff.
Ravenclaw, what would you be? I'm like, I'd be a Muggle.
Oh, touche.
You'd be
Or-
Hufflepuff.
Yeah, no.
The thing is, like,
Ideally, I'd
that's a
rather go
loaded
to
question.
Ilvermorny because I fit into Thunderbird more than I do to Ravenclaw.
But that's totally a loaded question if you weren't in this house, because it's based on your personality. So it's like saying, if you were a different person from who you are, then what house would you be? And it's like,
Slightly.
what?
It's part personality. It's mostly what you value.
Right, but that's still like inherently part of who you are.
That's true. Because
So
like
it's-
people are like, Neville acts like a Hufflepuff, but he values bravery.
Right.
That's why people are like, Geek Apprentice, you're a Hufflepuff, and I'm like, first of all, you don't know me well enough. Yeah. And second, I value creativity way too much. Because it's not because I'm smart that I'm Ravenclaw. I would have. Do you know
That's
how
why
you
I'm
get
not a
into their
Ravenclaw
common?
also.
Do you know how you have to get into your common room at Ravenclaw? Every day is a new riddle, and you can't get in until you figure out the freaking riddle.
That's a good way to get
I'd
locked out of
die.
the room
She
all the
said the
time.
F word. She's being
I said
serious.
frickin'.
Yeah, that's
Oh no.
that's like
the
that's a
F
syllable away.
Actually, no, my F word is fudging. Remember, I say fudge a duck.
Yeah.
Right. What about shut the fridge door?
No,
please? It's
when I'm
cold.
editing her audio, there's at least 10 fudgy ducks in every. Like it can be two.
Yeah, two of you have edited my audio enough to where you see.
It can
My
be.
most common thing is to go. I do that
Yeah.
one a lot.
It can be 2 minutes of audio,
Yep.
and 30 seconds of it'll be fudgy duck. Fudgy duck.
Be like fudge a duck. Dang it, English.
Oh.
Constantly.
Like she needs to
Editing's a
stop
fun time.
playing. It's a goose.
Dude, y'all have experienced this when you're recording audio and you're saying it perfectly fine, but you can feel
Yeah.
the articulation just going away as
Oh,
you're
yeah.
talking. You're like, wait, I can't. My mouth won't do it. Why is
Yeah.
it stopping?
Learn to
Dude, everything starts
enunciate.
slurring. Honestly, though, your audio.
Enunciate, Daniel. Enunciate.
Geek has the nicest audio to edit out of all of us. I'm just putting that
Yeah.
out there as someone who's done video stuff long enough
That's
because
because
she enunciates the best. I tend to slur,
Do you-
or I'll talk in like
do you
a
forget
rapid fire like
the reason-
and then
The reason we met her was because she won a contest.
yeah, I know.
She was literally better than every other person on Discord.
Yeah.
Which is
Except
why we.
Connor.
Connor was
and
really good
her
too.
and Connor, yeah.
Well, that's because we did a
My
boy
own-
and girl. 'Cause we wanted to be.
Also,
my own
speaking of
video
voiceover flubs, if you watch not my most recent, but like 2 videos ago, the one that's just with Daniel, I put a lot of his flubs at the end, and it's hilarious. I
love
cut
it.
out like half of them because I didn't know where else to put it. But I was like, I'm gonna put this here
It's
and hope
bad.
people
There
listen.
was
It's
one-
so
It's
funny.
There was one with Tubes where I think she ran off to like turn her water off or something.
My bathtub was just like, you know, when you're like, you take a shower and then like the thing drops after and you hear the water come out. It did that while I was recording, and I was like,
Why?
I was editing the audio
Why did you do
and I'm
that?
like, oh, it's like a detective story. You're trying to listen to figure out what's going on in the
Oh, no.
background.
I was
Yeah, I tend
recording.
to just talk in these bursts, and then I have these long pauses, and I'm like, and I say too much, and I'm like, and then I'm editing it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to stop. Learn how to speak, Daniel. Why are you like this?
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Recording
It's really
for
terrible.
a character that I'm doing. Oh, I haven't sent them audio in like a month. Anyway, I was recording for some cartoon thing. It's kind of dark, but she's like a 9-year-old girl, and I'm really excited. Anyway, and I was like in the middle of recording, and I'm recording this thing, and I'm talking in my high-pitched 9-year-old girl voice or whatever, which
What happened, dude? I think we're done. We might be back in it.
Too much talk.
I've done that before. I've been on a stream and been like, okay, bye guys.
All right, we're back.
Goodbye. I've done that.
We're back. We're back.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was talking about temperatures in Florida and
Your video's not
It's dumb.
showing. Geek.
Oh no, it says
What?
live streaming offline. We actually probably should wrap
Yeah.
this up because I gotta get my kid to bed. But no, now it
Fair.
says it's back. But yes. Who's next? Who did we all say our things?
Oh, yeah,
Kayla.
Jude needs to talk about herself.
Chew.
You can find me on Twitch at @𝐓𝐿𝐼.
Ah.
Just an extra A at the end. You can also find me on Twitter, where I try not to sand post because I have people that are actually important following me, which is really embarrassing. Also Instagram, and that's pretty much all I'm active on right now. I am taking a little bit of a break from streaming just because I'm going through stuff. But hopefully, maybe next week I'll hop back on track and we'll finish Paper Mario. That is the plan.
That was in your door?
Paper
Origami King.
Mario, Origami King.
You know, there's do you remember the paper Zelda joke that Miyamoto had? Do you know you can play as Paper Link costume in Paper Mario Origami King?
I haven't played that
I
much
did
of
not
the
know
game.
that.
There's a link. There was an update I seen earlier when I was looking for news where there was a Link costume that made you look like 2D Paper Link in the Mario game.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's actually
Okay.
pretty cool.
Jesse, where can we find you?
Yeah.
Where can we find you?
My name
For the people already
is
watching our channel.
My name is Daniel Bergerson. You can find me at 123 Fake Street. And
That
what?
I've been there. It's a nice place.
Yeah.
It's a nice street.
It's right next to Miyamoto's house.
Right above Bob's Burgers. How like you see the restaurant, and then we live. It's like a duplex, where there's like there's a plex on another plex, so there's two. But they call it do to make it more fancy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the truth facts.
No, so everything Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everything is /GameOverJesse. And thank you for watching, YouTube people. The 37 of you, I apologize for whatever
and AJ,
this
who
was.
just got here.
We talked about
Hey,
Zelda
they
for
love
the
this.
we talked about Zelda for the first 15 minutes, and then we talked about coffee and Animal Crossing.
Love you guys.
But that
If you're regular to the podcast, you know how it goes.
that was part of the
Yeah.
thing. Getting
Just
to
hasn't been all
know
four of us in so long. We
our-
had so much to
It's
get out of our
true.
systems.
True.
our funny or worst work story experiences was a good time. You all liked it. I know you did. Because there's 50 of you
Yes.
that stayed through the whole thing, so you had to like it.
True.
All right.
Must have.
Daniel.
Jesse.
Tubes. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
for
you,
watching.
Jesse, so much.
Thank you all for
Thank you.
watching. And Sefker, Matt, AJ, Abigail, AJ again. This was amazing. What are you apologizing for? All right, yeah. So have a wonderful night, guys. Happy Wednesday.
Tuesday. Well, it's Wednesday now for you and
Yeah,
I.
happy Wednesday, happy Tuesday, happy day. Bye bye.